Oh, give me a minute. I sent you a co-host average. Okay. Hey y'all. How y'all doing? How
Hey,
y'all doing? Y'all doing fine?
yes.
So we
Yep.
go run this. We go run this. We go run this Pan African down or what?
If he comes in,
We gotta tag him. Wait, let me find his name. I should have tagged him in
I
the.
just put it in the last message.
Okay, let me go find it. You want me to put it in the title?
Um, I don't know. That
I just
might be
tag him in the
too,
comment.
yeah, that might be too aggressive since I'm trying to lure him in.
Okay, let me go get his name. How's everybody doing today? This is just an impromptu space. We're just having a little fun here today. Share the post during this live conversation.
Yeah, I tweeted out them spaces. Tweeted out and sent out DMs. So we get some peoples up in here.
I can't find his name in the comments. So one of y'all gonna have to put his name in the comments. These comments. I can't find it. I know that he's Pan African something, but I can't find it. Can you put it? Can you send it to me, Wani?
What is this thing? It's just tier God. T
Oh, at
I
Tear God. Okay.
uh-huh. TIERGAWD.
Duke of Pan Africans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I
And
tagged him.
bring your friends. I don't think he's gonna fall for it, even though he said I'll debate you anytime. I don't think I want to debate him. I want to hear what he has taught, like what these Pan-Africanists want us to do. That's really how I would like to start on just what is it they're trying to achieve and with who, and are they having are they blending our cultures together, or are they saying yes, you are this, we are this, and we're working together? I just want to hear what they're saying before I before it turns into a cage fight, basically.
Mm. How's everybody doing? Anybody want to come up and say hello? Come on up. So we're looking for tethers or Pan Africanists for Wani to debate with today. So if you guys know of anyone who you want to tag, who you want to see her debate today, go ahead and tag them in the comments or come up and tell us who you want to see her debate today. Come on, Kel Eddings.
Hello, Miss Eddings. Here we are in another space, and I just want to say, you look incredibly ravishing in your photos. Love you to death. And if this was the early '90s and we was in high school, girl, it'd be on.
Um, Thank you, Brother Average. Shout out to you, Nikki, and shout out to you as well, Wani. Average. Nice to see you again amongst these circumstances. I was just going to tell you if you would like for them to come in, Average cannot be co-host because they're not going to stand for that. But I just wanted to say my 2 cents and let you know.
Kel, what is it? What's going on with you and Average? I mean, because I was like listening in a little bit earlier, and it seemed like y'all was throwing shots at each other. Do y'all have some kind of beef that we don't know about?
So this is the
I
thing.
love her. What you talking about?
Me and Average was doing listen, it's really good. I know you guys like serious spaces, But it's really good just to joan on one another and have a good time. So it really wasn't anything personal. We were
Not
just
at all.
old school joning. That's all. I got love for average. And it's Jerry. Okay, I'm sorry. It was too automatic. I'm
No,
going to drop down to listener.
it's
Uh,
all good. I like my Jerry curl. I put it up so that people could take shots at it and look at it. And this is like a halfway Jerry curl. This is partially my hair with just a little chemical assistance. That's all. My mother made me get it, so don't blame me. I was 5 years old, y'all.
It's all good. It's all good. Shout out to the rest of the family. War Talks. Hi, how you doing? I've seen you around. I don't know you, but I have seen you and regular my regular family members, Smooth G and all the saints of God in the place. So yeah, so that's just wanted to let you know that's the reason why they wouldn't come up in our space today was because of average. And I got so many messages, and those were like the Pan Africans of the
Oh,
space.
Oh
so
my
they don't come in
goodness.
spaces when they see average. Are they afraid or what?
Well, they just don't want average to use the power of the mute button.
Oh, poor
Oh,
babies.
hey, tell these Pan Africans. These Pan Africans are scared because I've been in their spaces and they use the mute button against me, and so in turn, I've used it against them. Now, I would love to have a fair fight with them, but they don't want to have one. And so when I get them on my stage and they start talking that stupid shit, yeah, I'll use the mute button. But I'll go one on one where I'm in the speaker and they're in the speaker. I did
So,
it last week in Buffalo State, so I don't want to hear the crying in the DM. Stop being a bitch. Come
so
on the
why don't
stage.
you do a Jedi mind trick?
Wani's the host. Or sorry, I'm sorry. Nikki's the host.
Just
Uh,
do the
I'm
No,
gonna let
all
Jedi
of
her.
us
mind
are the
trick.
hosts. For this space, you don't. You got hosting privileges in here. You can do what
You
you
have
want.
to. You guys got to strategize this whole thing.
No, no.
You know what I'm saying? No, you don't know what I'm saying. I will send you a message on the back channel. Okay, I'm good at that. Okay, so give me a sec and see if you guys like the plan.
Also, too, here's the thing. I'm not gonna give these Pan Africans any reason to bitch out like they did yesterday. So I will let you have the co-host, Kale, and they can come up and they can have no excuse when they get their heads ripped off. No excuses. Bring your ass up here. Every scary ass Pan African and tether that could scream when I'm in the speaker section, but when it's my room, you run like a bitch. You can come up now. I will get out of this host space so that you can get this work still. No
I can
excuses.
leave the host space, and I could leave the host space. I don't mind.
Yeah, but you
It's
don't have
not a
nobody
problem.
blocked yet, so
And
it
I
doesn't
know,
I
matter.
have,
Do what
I
y'all
have,
want. It don't
I
matter.
mean,
I'm just trying to get them in the space so we could get some debates going.
yeah,
okay.
I'll get off the co-host so
No,
that you
no,
can come in.
listen. Number two, that's not a good enough title to get them in. You got to say something like Pan Africanism is something I don't know.
It changed my mind.
Pan,
Pan
I
Africanism
used to
is,
be a Pan Africanist, and this is why, or Pan Africanist stuck, or something to lure them in. Yeah, that title ain't gonna work. You can change it once they come in, but that ain't gonna work. And check your messages, Nikki.
Okay, how's this?
this is too combative. They're never going to believe that I'm doing exploratory
Better.
rooms to see
Oh, Nick,
where
you
they
got feedback.
stand.
You got feedback, Nikki, on your thing, on your
Hello, hello, hello.
And one last thing too. When they come here to debate Wani, like I said, I'll get off the stage when they come up to the stage. So that way,
No,
Why
you
is it
got to
just
be off the
me?
stage first, bruh.
I said no, no,
No.
no, 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 no. We
They
now
see
I'm draw,
you.
now I'm drawing the line. I'm tired. I'm tired of these
Oh
motherfuckers wanting.
Lord,
No,
they
hold on a
see you on
second.
the. Come on,
Time
average. You
out.
know how this game works, man.
Nah, not no game, not no game. Cause look, I'm a fair dude when they're being fair. When they
You're
start telling
not
lies,
fair in
I
their
mute.
eyes.
I don't give a shit about their eyes. These are Pan Africans. This is the
But the
lowest
whole
fucking
point
form.
is to
Let
get
me
them
finish.
in the space.
Let me finish. This is the lowest fucking form of backstabbing ass tether consolers. Okay? But I want average off the stage. Now we gotta make concessions for these motherfuckers that make concessions
With
for other
the
people.
okay, what's the
A
essence?
mute button on the
What's the
app.
essence? What's the essence? What's the essence,
Hey,
average?
when
Of
they come
what?
on stage, I'll know they're serious, and I will leave. I promise that. Because unlike
What's
them,
the
I stand on
essence,
my word.
average? What's the essence?
When they get to the stage, I'll
Hey,
leave.
average
Promise
from a Pan Africanist.
Okay.
I want to debate.
No, you
that.
not. Sit down.
We know that. We know
Come
that's cap.
on, don't tease me.
We know that's cap. No, when they get here, I'll leave.
Duh, they not gonna come if they.
No,
Okay, you know
no,
what?
stop, stop it. Now you
Okay,
can.
okay.
Now you sticking up for them.
I'm not sticking up for
The
them.
least they
I'm
can do
trying
is
to
show
get
good
Wani what
faith.
I
he
didn't tell you the reason
wants.
why I'm a Pan Africanist. I'm for Africans want to build their shit in their homeland. That's how I'm a Pan Africanist.
Listen,
Boy, sit down somewhere
they
before
over
I
here
have you go
negotiating.
outside and give me a
I ain't
swig.
never seen no pussy ass shit like this where you negotiating terms because on the big bad wolf. Look, if they
Because
show up, I'm out.
because this is not about you. You're making this about you. This is
They're
what
making it
Wani
about me.
wants.
They said my name.
This
But
is what Wani
they're
wants. Not
scared of
about
average
you.
though.
You got to sacrifice and understand the essence of this whole thing. We want them
Listen,
here.
listen.
We're not coming in
Stop
here
being a
unless
tether's
you
lawyer.
please.
Stop being a tether and a Pan
All
African
right, all right,
lawyer.
all right.
They're
You know what?
scared of everybody.
All right, all right, all right, all right. Stay your little Jerry curl having ass up there.
Thank you,
Ooh,
thank you,
you know he looked just like his baby boy.
thank you.
His baby boy looked just like him in that picture.
Now let's get back to this. You say you're 5 years old in the picture,
Yes,
and your mother has styled your hair.
yes.
And yet my mother had me in an afro puff until the neighbor lady said, "You need a hairstyle," and I was 8 years old. So now I'm mad. I was abused.
I
I
kind
was
of
not given a hairstyle early enough.
my mother used to dress me very well, but unfortunately, since this was like the trendy style at the time, I have this wonderful photo. And the lucky part is everybody else who had a Jerry curl that's hiding their pictures, I can put mines out because I was a kid. I have an excuse. It's people that's like 22 with a Jerry curl. They can't make no excuse. So,
Well, I used to look at those pictures and I said, man, when these pictures get like in the 90s, you guys are going to look crazy. And they did look crazy. The bell bottoms, the super tight pants showing the bulges, the gigantic afros. Yeah, they looked different than the way we look now, for sure.
right.
Those pants were tight.
No, the styling was definitely different. I have some old pictures I'm gonna put up because my birthday's coming up. So I think I might put up some of my really old pictures, some of my funniest ones, so people could like snap on me, roast me, or whatever. Maybe that'll be a good space with me and Kale. Um, Also, too, Kale, forgive my passion, but the reason why I'm like this is because they have a lot of trolls and all type of shit. And Black Americans, we go into their spaces. We don't be having all kind of stipulations. We don't be hitting people up saying, I don't want this person to be co-host. But they have the gall to come up and ask questions like, can you have him gone? Can he leave? Like, that's crazy.
That's because we're brave, and everybody else, they are all cowards that had to run from their country to hide behind our brave people. They're scaredy cats. We
Right.
just walk up in there. Oh, I'm on an app. You can't even touch me. I'm not scared of you. If you want to scream at me, go ahead. What do we do? What are we going to do? I've done it before. I've walked into an ambush and I'm still alive. So,
Wow. The dread of they let you
Okay,
get
we
on
got to get them
like
in
you
here
said, you're
because
right.
we got to do these debates. So, um, I know somebody was trying. Somebody's giving me some ideas in the back channel. So give me a minute.
okay.
Listen, as soon as they show up, I'm out. If they really real about it, I'm a man of my word. I ain't gonna lie in front of a whole bunch of Black Americans and not stand on what I say. Not gonna do that. I'll be out. Matter of fact, I'll go into the listener section, or maybe even speaker, but I won't be co-host. But I think they full of shit, honestly. And who are they to make stipulations when we don't do that to them? And they abuse some of our people, say the worst shit, lie on them, mute the fuck out of them, and we don't be like, well, I'm gonna do this. Y'all got to do this for me to show back up. Nah, nah. You know,
Well, they ambushed me from the beginning. I go in, oh, there she is. And they just start going off. I mean, I don't even get to say, I don't even know if they know what I'm going to say. It's just by reputation only.
Exactly.
This guy was giggling and pointing at my name on Twitter. She's back, cluckety cluckety cluck. And I said, okay, you're a Pan Africanist. Would you like to debate me anytime? Well, hello. He was talking about me. I don't know him. I do not know that fool.
And really, what I think it is too. This is just. This is the last thing I'll say about it. Oh, I got feedback, Nikki, on your end, but this is the last thing I'll say about this and them. I've already committed to protecting Wani from disrespect and all that lies. This is just a bunch of bitch ass niggas that want to come to the stage and be abusive like other niggas was doing before Wani was here last. All it is. And they don't want to deal with somebody that'll roast the shit out of them or call them out or whatever. I don't know why a dude with a Jerry curl is so scary on an app. It's just a fucking app at the end of the day. And they still got to deal with you anyway. Maybe they just want to overtalk you and shout because that's what they think running somebody down is. The last two trolls that they sent at me was saying, I ran you down. I'm like, you was shouting at me. That's all you did. You didn't have no, that's
They
all you was
don't even know
screaming.
what the roast means.
Yeah, you was screaming at me. Like, that's not a rundown. You was cussing and screaming. You didn't want to have no conversation. That's not a rundown, so to speak. Two people with two ideas, present them both. Whoever wins, wins. If you're afraid of that, that is what it is. That's you. That is you. So yeah, I don't know if Mr. Eddings, are they still contacting you? Are they still contacting you, Nikki, and saying, please get rid of him?
I
That's
don't have the
ridiculous.
same people contacting me. I'm just basically being told that the title don't ain't all that great, but the title can change at any time, and y'all can change the title at any time. So I'm not gonna keep
Ah,
changing it. Y'all can change it if you want.
motherfuckers got more excuses
Kentucky.
than a nigga going to jail. The title, the co-host, the I'll show up if it was sunny today and the title was better and Average was a speaker, I'll show up and talk to Wani. Stop it.
I just hope that fat
Uh-huh.
guy shows up.
Who's that?
Tear guy.
Oh shit. Oh, you
Oh
said that
yeah.
guy. You said that guy. Okay. I thought you said
I
fat
Yeah.
said
guy.
fat guy. Ain't he the fat one?
Oh, you said fat. You
Oh,
did say
I don't
fat guy.
know.
Yeah, ain't
Oh
he the
yeah,
one
it did
that
sound
was
like fat.
bothering Tariq? Yeah,
Oh, you mean Bucci Bear?
yeah.
No. No.
No, that's not it.
Shoot, I just
It's all the same thing though, but anyway, but
but they both fat, right?
his head is fat. I don't know
Oh, he
about
got.
the rest of his life.
So what is their biggest argument? You would say their
I
biggest.
would like I, what I would like to do is because like I said, I hear them talking and the way that they talk completely erases our culture. So if they just make these sweeping blanket statements, and a lot of our people don't really think about what they're saying. So if they say, oh, yeah, all your food came from us, they had some rice down in Louisiana, you know, no, it's not like that. And that's what we need to talk about. We didn't get food from them. Most of the food that we use is food that's native to this area or food that Europeans imported from Europe. So that's what our food is made of, things Europeans imported and things that were native here. And so that's some of the things you get your this from us. You get all your music from us. How on earth could we get jazz from goatskin drums? You don't have music that sounds like that. And then when you say you don't have music like that, they point to high life. Okay, that came way after jazz. And that's what the British people told you to play when they were copying jazz. You don't have music like us. There's videos of I think it's Louis Armstrong goes over to Ghana and they didn't even know what he was doing. He was playing jazz. And they were like, we don't know how to move to it. We don't, they were walking around clucking like chickens. They didn't know what to do with this music. They don't have those instruments and they don't have that music. Nothing about our music is similar to theirs. And we don't use it the same way, like we were saying last night. They use the music ceremonially. We just use it whenever, like parties, hanging
Hey,
out, just listening. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I see Shaw's up here, so I will decline co-host, so you can do what you do.
Why do you have to leave?
No, that's what they want, right? That's what you want, Shaw, right?
That's the problem with them. They always
That's
trying
not
to make the
But
necessary.
I
rules.
want you to leave.
No, that's not. No, you're not leaving.
I don't get it. Yeah.
Average, you're not leaving.
What?
But I do have a important thing to add. So here's a recent conversation that keeps on coming up with Africans, well, specifically Africans and Caribbeans. They talk about our phenotypes. So like, if you're of a certain complexion, then you're light skinned, or not a certain complexion, you're light skinned, or you're mixed or whatnot. And yeah, we're a mixture group of people. We're our own ethnic group, and then and then colorism. So it's not how you call it. It's not us talking about colorism. It's them talking about colorism. So
Right.
do you think colorism still exists in modern times
Of
in the
course.
Black American community?
Colorism
For me,
exists for everybody. You have dark, most white people have dark eyes and dark hair. They have brown eyes and brown hair, correct? That's not debatable. They bleach their hair blonde and they get blue contacts. They did not invent blue contacts for us. They wear these things and they spend money to try to look like blonde haired, blue eyed people. They practice colorism. They prize the children that come out with blue eyes and blonde hair. They do the same thing in the Hispanic communities. The people that are the lightest are considered the prettiest. They do the same thing in the Asian communities, white skin. They do the same thing in India. They bleach their skin, even though the darker chocolate girls are just really very pretty. It's really beautiful combination, but they don't see it. They just see being white. Go ahead, Shah. This
Uh,
is not, I just want to say this is not a rundown session. It could be, uh, but it's not. I really would like to hear what this new generation of Pan-Africanists is doing and what they're saying and what they're thinking, just to see where we stand, because it's easy for you to come in and say something and me to say something. And of course, I'm going to win because I'm right. But I still want to hear what the opposition is saying, see how far apart we are on this, because I know I'm in the right to defend my culture, my people's food, my people's music, my people's uh, things in sports, barriers that they broke, my people's civil rights records, my people's history in every war, my people's um, Wild West legendary performances that made people make movies and all kinds of fake things about depicting them as white. I know what our history is about. And it really is not about Africans. It's about an ethnogenesis that happened in the United States of America. And we do have those ties, but we have ties with 5 to 6 continents. We don't just have one thing, and that's what makes us different. And when people from the continent try to brand us and say, oh, we see you moving over here and saying these things, you African. It's almost like it's a punishment. Like, you're African. How dare you try to do something? Let me drag you back over here like it's something negative. Let me give you an idea of why I say that.
oh,
Okay.
I thought you were letting me go, but then you went on to just go
Okay.
and go
Let
the
me
whole.
tell you why I say that. Native American people are from Asia, right? But you would never see Asians demand that they identify as Asian. They've been over on this continent doing different things, And now they have developed a new culture and a new continent that they live on. They don't have to be drugged back over and told and reminded and attacked and told, you need to get to know your Chinese culture. But we're not from China, we're from Asia, and we really don't have that type of individual country culture. This is our situation. We don't have an individual country culture. We are not from one country in Africa, so we don't need to do that. If we're interested in things in Africa, fine. But this force teaming is what's problematic because there's lots of people that are related to other places that don't live there now, and they're not being forced to get together with any of those people for any reason. Go ahead.
Um, you were on one subject, you went into another in the third subject. You first of all, you sound very familiar. You sound like this girl named what was her name? She sent me this really horrific pic in my DM. Wani. You sound like Wani.
I sent you a horrific pic.
Oh,
Don't
you
fall for
are
this
you?
bullshit.
This is Wani.
What a dick.
Wow. Okay. So anyway, yeah, because you know how you recognize voices and you don't know people's faces, but you know the voices.
Mhm.
So I wanted to touch on the music because Sister Ishmael was talking about this. We were discussing this the other day, and she's a music major. You know, she has a lot of music theory uh, and information about that. But what's interesting that I didn't know that I learned from her was that the banjo is actually called the banjul in West Africa. And so I had been arguing in spaces about the oldest and first banjo recorded is the gourd banjo. And that the gourd banjo, which I have a picture of, and I've been, it's in my timeline and I can put it up there, along with some other information about this early instrument that the Africans brought over. Now, again, people always want to say, as many times as I say that blues is not African, but blues came from Africans that were brought
Oh,
from Mali, Senegal, Guinea,
that's
from
not true.
well,
When
wait.
did blues, what
So
year did blues
if I
begin?
may, so
Well, you can't just say a false
but I'm
statement,
gonna
sir. People
prove
did
it.
not sail
I'm
across
going to prove it.
people didn't sail across the ocean and start playing
Blues
blues. The timeline
comes
is not
from
fitting.
blues comes from the people from Africa, from that part of Africa. Now, in Africa, it wasn't called blues, but the people who created blues are the people who have an instrument called the banjul. And
Get out of here.
interesting enough, we have a instrument called the banjo. And the instrument of
Okay.
the banjo looks exactly the gourd banjo looks exactly like the banjul
Okay,
in
can we do
right.
something?
So that's one
Can you
thing.
play some? No, that's one thing you're going to prove.
And
Okay.
so
Play me some blues music from these countries that you say we all
it,
conveniently
it
sailed over from.
again, you just did
No,
it.
play me some
You made the
music.
same mistake that everybody makes because you just said play me some blues music from these places, and I just said to
Well,
you
play me some
that
music that's like
blues was
blues.
started by the
Blues came
people who
from
came
going,
from
no, it wasn't. It was
Senegal,
started
Guinea,
by
and
being
Mali,
enslaved.
and they
It
have
was
an
started by
instrument
people being
called the
enslaved, and Africans were
banjul.
not those
They have
people.
an instrument called the banjul.
Are you aware what blues is?
I
Because
am
my
aware
father
with
is a
what blues
jazz
is,
blues
right?
musician, so I do know the
Right.
instrumentation
So,
involved.
okay, so
And it's not a banjo
uh,
or a banjar or a
okay,
banjul.
so in
Check it out.
Senegal, or in Mali, Senegal, Guinea, it is called the banjul, right? You may not know
Great.
that, but that's what it's called,
I do.
right?
I do know that it's a banjar, banjo, and some other form.
Okay,
It was
right,
written about, and it was said that we carved one on the plantation, and then later we were asked to play on the plantation during celebrations on the
right.
plantation. So I do know that it was written that we did carve one. I'm not going to fight you on it, but I will say this. Are any of these Africans that you're speaking about, are they known for dueling banjos or some hot banjo music or uh, some genres in banjo that we need to know about? Has
Well,
anyone ever heard of any
so
of these people being
dueling
hot banjo
banjos
players?
sounds like white boy crackers playing dueling banjo,
Well,
but
that's because you
Africans
bought the
were
propaganda.
playing the gourd banjo in the United States, the first generation
No,
Africans, because guess
no, no,
what?
no, no, no,
The
no, no,
black
no.
people came from Africa.
No, no, no,
And
no.
so those
No,
Africans, first
your
and second
timeline is
and third
off.
generations, were playing the music of their
Timeline's off.
grandfathers or fathers, which came
Those
from West
no,
Africa.
your your timeline is
I'm
off.
sorry, that is
Those
exactly true.
no,
Black
your
people came
timeline
from
is off.
Africa and from different parts of Africa.
Now
And when they
let's
came from
get
different
this
parts of
straight.
Africa, they brought with them their culture.
Can you simply provide a recording
Sure, I
of
can.
Africans playing this type of music that
Right.
sounds like
Oh,
blues?
thank you. That's exactly what it is. And surely I can. I have my TV on sleep, kind of like, and the music of the traditional
And what
Mali
year is
music.
this?
Let's see.
What year is this?
What year is what?
You need to
So
play something that
Africans came from
predates
Africa
blues.
between
Stop.
is that what you mean? What
You
year is it?
need
Is that what you mean?
no, no, no.
So what do you mean what
You
year is
need
it?
to
Because I don't know what you mean.
okay. You need to play something from Africa that predates blues.
Okay, so the traditional music that they play today in 2024.
No, not today after they've copied off of
So
everybody,
so they
the
copied blues too,
colonists,
didn't they?
us.
The Africans in West Africa copied blues, and that's why it sounds similar to
They
blues.
copied high life, they copied
And
Afrobeat,
blues
they
too,
copied
right? Didn't
everything.
they copy blues too?
Anything they can get their hands on. Play me something from
Right.
Africa that predates our recording. These are
Okay,
simple
that
requests. You're gonna
predates
play.
your
Hold on.
recordings. I'm not going to
Hold
play
on.
you.
Hold on. We're gonna get this straight. You're not gonna play me my people's music regurgitated. Because we already did that. You're gonna show me something that predates what we did. I'm gonna give you the date of the first blues song. And you're going to show me some African music that predates that. That's what we're going to do.
No, that's what you're going to do because the traditional
Sounds
music
like a
of Mali
loss.
today, the traditional music of Mali and dance, which I study, of today is the same traditional music 200 years ago, 300 years ago. It's the same music.
Well, then, did they write it down? Because I'll read the music here.
Did they write
Did
it
they
down?
publish it? Did they
Well,
publish
they
it?
do.
Like we
They did
published
write.
our music.
They did write, and they
We
have
have a
text
slave
that go back
songbooks
further than
published in
that. They
1867.
have text and they have writing that goes back further
Okay.
than that
And you're going
to
to show it. You're going to
six, seven,
show it.
800 years ago in Mali, right? But they did
They
not
have
write.
writing that goes
They
back.
they have writing that goes back
Okay.
6, 7, 800 years ago.
What language is it? What
It is
language is
in
it?
traditional African language. It's also in Latin and it's also in
What
Arabic.
is that? What's traditional
It
African
depends on
language?
the text.
Well,
There
you're saying Mali. I
right.
mean, what
So
is
there
it?
are ethnic groups. Bambara is one. And that's one of the main ones. They have written in their traditional language on in books that are in Mali. Now there are thousands, not even thousands, hundreds of thousands of transcripts that were written during the time of the University of Sankore in Timbuktu. And surely you know that you're an educated woman.
Which is
Surely you know that.
which is an Arabized institution, which
No,
has nothing
it's
to do
not.
with
In
original
fact, the
Africans. It is.
university was there before
It
Mansa
is.
Musa brought before
Where
Mansa
is their
Musa took
where's their
over
university?
before Mansa Musa took over the university in Timbuktu and influenced it with
Okay,
Arabic. The University of Sankore was there.
where is their university that's not Arabic, that doesn't have all of these Islamic influences? Where is their thing?
University of Sankore has been there before
Okay.
pre-Islam.
So you're going to one of the earliest blues songs was W. C. Handy, Memphis Blues, 1912. And St. Louis blues or St. Louis blues, 1914. Those are one of the earliest ones. So, do you have something from the 1800s
I don't need to
that
have anything from the
shows?
1800s.
You
No, I
do.
don't.
You
No, I
do.
don't.
Okay.
And the reason that
You
I
have
don't is
something after
because it's
that?
traditional music, and they played the traditional music the same way for hundreds of years.
And it sounds like the blues.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I'm putting
You
in
see, this is where we have a
Molly's
problem
music.
because they claim our cuisine, and then all of a sudden they go, look, we were making collard greens too. And then they show us some collard greens that they made just today. Well, show me a cookbook where you were actually using those greens. We know that you didn't even have collard greens over there. You had some greens, but you didn't have collard greens because that's what the European brought to North America for us to eat. We grew those greens in our gardens and we cook them a certain way. That's our thing. And for people to just lie and say, look, we were making greens too. Now, Ethiopia has a cookbook, they have an old cookbook, but West Africa does not.
And they don't
Okay.
need to have a cookbook.
West Africa, they
They don't need to
do
have a
because they don't
cookbook
have a
because
cuisine. They
they
do
no,
because
they
they
don't
don't have a
have a
cuisine.
cookbook. They have
They
recipes.
don't have a
They have
cuisine. No,
traditional
they don't.
food, just like they have
No, they don't.
traditional music, and they've been making
No,
the
they don't.
food for hundreds of
That's
years,
debunked. I
just
debunked
like
their
gumbo.
original food.
So
I
you know how old
debunked their
Shebogen
original
is?
food.
You know how old the
I
dish
debunked
Shebogen
their.
is?
I know
No, you
that you
don't.
rename
No, you don't. You
dishes.
don't know how
That
old Shebogen is.
you rename dishes like jollof rice was a French dish. They were told to make it by the French. It had a French name, and the French just didn't think a whole lot of it. They're like, whatever. We just told you to stop using barley and to use Indo-Chinese rice. Okay, that's a French dish. A lot of the food is influenced by Europeans. And then because they come over and see a dish in Louisiana, now all of a sudden we have the same food. No, we have French people over here putting in their influence and French people telling you to make jollof rice. So we're not going to do that. I want to see something original from you're not going to steal our music,
Gumbo is
steal our
original,
food.
and it is gumbo is
Gumbo
original and
is
found in
you
Benin.
have you
It is
have the
also
goosey
found. The
soup.
word gumbo is
You
found
have
in the
it.
Congo. It is also a
That's
dish in
fine. That's
Benin.
fine. And I want to
It's
stop
a
you
word
there.
though. It's
No,
just
it's
a
Stop.
not a
word.
word. It
It's
Right.
not
means
a
okra in the
dish.
Congo. It means okra, literally. And
That's
there is a
fine.
soup
That's
in Benin, Republic of Benin, Dahomey, that is called gumbo, as well as a word used in Senegal, Guinea Mali area. Jambalaya as well.
okay. Check this out. Again, French influence, and we have French influence. I'm not interested in gumbo and I'm not interested in okra. Most Black Americans don't eat that.
Well,
That's
we did.
regional food. Like I
We
said,
did. I'm from
it's
Louisiana.
regional.
Right.
That's fine.
And we ate it.
It's
So, and we're
regional.
African American.
Stop. It's regional food. We don't celebrate Mardi Gras all over the United States. Some of us have had, uh, gumbo, and some of us have not. Some of us have celebrated Mardi Gras, some of us have not. So that is not our cuisine. Our cuisine is not, the soul food is not Louisiana Cajun. That's their own cuisine. We, in fact, have created three cuisines here, which is way more than other groups have created. We have soul food, which is not anything like African food at all. Then we have Louisiana Creole Cajun food, which has elements from the French, just like your made up cuisine in Africa has elements of the French. The truth is, unless you provide a cookbook showing the dishes that you can't claim dishes because anyone can. We have these African chefs running all over the globe saying that this is African cuisine. They don't have an African cuisine unless they show it. I mean, you can't just use oral talk. You can't just use oral history for these things. Just like if you wanted to prove that Africans were the first to play drums, how would you do that? How would you prove to me that Africans were the first people to play drums? Well, if you ask me, I would say, well, since they're the oldest people, and we know that they do play drums, we could assume that they played drums first before other groups. I would just assume they did. But unfortunately, they don't have writing systems and things where they write down what they're doing in West
Sure,
Africa.
they do. They have
And
a script.
therefore,
The
and
mandate
they
people have
don't
a
keep
script.
artifacts. Stop. They don't keep
The mandate. Oh, they
artifacts.
do. There are texts. There are hundreds of. Did I say not
Stop.
thousands, but hundreds of thousands of texts uh
Stop.
in
The oldest
Timbuktu.
drum found was the oldest drum. That's not old enough. The oldest drum found was in China. So Chinese people could literally go around it. We had the first drum. They could say they had the first drum. You know why? Because certain people don't record things. They
Well,
just
they
think
did in
they're going to
West
run up on other people and say they created this and that and claim everybody's stuff. See, when you don't record things, you have to claim people's stuff. You know what we did as Black Americans? Let me tell you, and this is not for you, Shaw, because you may not care about Black
Africa.
Americans.
Right.
We have recordings. We have published dates of music. So nobody can literally do that to us. That's why every time they try to steal country music and rock and roll, we have recordings of these things. You know why we have recordings? We may not have had any money to record this, but it was so good that somebody with money recorded it. And we have published music. Even if we don't have a recording for something earlier, it's published. And we have the dates. And so when Cool Herc comes along, we have two quotes from him claiming he has nothing to do with the formation of our music, that it's all our music. We have two quotes, powerful quotes from him. We also have recording dates of when we did this 10 years before these people ever drug around. So it's not happening. I'm not going to let you take blues from me with no information. Could you please send me the Molly recording, because I like old recordings too, but I really feel like I'm bending over backwards to take a modern recording when we can provide recordings from the 1890s. Sir, there's no excuse. We were enslaved, and we have recordings from the 1890s of us on the first film, of us breaking it down and dancing. We have we have videos and audio from us having our first raps and breakdancing in the 30s. To have these videos of us really busting it down in 1894, that's something that Africans should have. Why don't they have a video? White people were over there filming them. Why don't they have that? Because we do, thankfully, or else you and other people would just smear them all over our original things. You know, blues came from being enslaved. It didn't come from selling slaves. So you send me the music, but I want you to know nothing you send me modern, everything is tainted. Just like they could say, oh, look at this blues recreated. Look at this jazz recreated. High life is not an original African creation. It's simply British people that heard jazz and told their little underlings to play it on these new brass instruments. And everybody knows that. That's not a secret. Jazz came from one place and it wasn't goatskin drums. Try again.
I mean, it's easy to just talk yourself to yourself, or to just talk and make a soliloquy. But if you're having a conversation and we're talking about facts, then
Could you send it over to me though?
yeah, no, I'm finding something that would be suitable to play for everybody.
Okay. Thanks.
Um,
No, I don't want you to play it. I would like to hear it myself. And could you find something old, as old as you can, like something in black and white? Because I really don't feel comfortable listening to brand new music from people that are known to imitate so deeply. They didn't start the heavy imitating till after the 70s. So please make sure you provide something before the deception and the um, stealing of music began. Because honestly, Africans were honest. If you go back to the 50s about music, 60s, 70s, they were honest. Yeah, we're impressed by Black Americans. We don't have anything like that. They told the truth. I have the quotes. You're not going to lie to me. Okay, I have the quotes from all the people that created this music. Fela Kuti, he didn't even know what being black was. Literally quoted, I didn't know what being black was. We were running around in Englishmen's suits. So I know where black comes from, my people. And just please send me something that is at least in the 40s or 50s of them playing this music, not something recent, because that could be copying. Go ahead, Halo.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Just wanted to join the conversation. Thanks for letting me up. I mean, honestly, what he's saying is correct, and I mean, it's a simple Google. It actually goes back to the 1700s, from here in America to the Caribbean, and that actually did come from Africa. The banjo itself.
Oh my
Give
God,
me a
these
second.
niggas are slow.
Well, no, I look. Hold on one second.
We're not talking about the banjo, we're talking about blues.
Well, we talked about the banjo too. North America, in the Caribbean
Yeah,
in the
that's fine.
17th.
I'm not going to debate about banjos. I'm going to debate about what was done with banjos. There's another book where it said that uh, in Haiti they had a banjar in Haiti. And yeah,
She's still there.
Yeah, she's still there. Just give her a second. Her phone is
Oh,
ringing.
okay. So the banjo, I thought they were having a discussion about where the origination of the banjo came from. Somebody has the mic open.
You wasn't listening?
Yeah, I
How
was
did you
listening.
think that? I literally
Uh,
came up here to have a conversation about the origins of blues,
yeah, but
and we
far as
came up at the same time.
yeah,
So how did you possibly think that?
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that. I'm really getting to that.
Start there,
So
bro.
far as the
We
origin,
don't need you to pontificate about your knowledge about what happened before. Just go with the
right.
blues, bro. The blues.
okay, so that's what
I'm
I'm
asking
trying to
him
get
to
to that
send me
right
a
now. As
recording.
far as the blues,
Hold on a second. Can you hear
yeah,
me?
but I'm just saying, I was
Okay,
just finishing
so
my
can
state.
Mute
hold
yourself,
on a
bro.
second. We were finishing that up. Shah was going to send me some blues type music, pre blues music that he feels is blues, or the precursor of blues, using this banjo, banjar, whatever it is. Okay? He's going to send it to me so I can see what it is. Thank you.
All right, thank you. But far as the blues, which I didn't get to yet, but far as the blues, I actually do believe that originated here in the States. But you got to think about it. Anybody can make, when you're having a down day or you're being oppressed in some type of way and you just need to sing about it. Anybody can, come up with the blues, a song that express how they feel. So, I mean, um,
Well, why didn't they do it and turn it into a music genre and blow it up? Why did white people have to steal our version of
because we're better
blues?
than them. What do
And
you
then,
mean?
okay, and why are Africans trying to steal it and re-engineer
they're
it?
Look,
trying to steal blues and re-engineer
I
it.
I
Where?
don't listen. I don't know. When I say we're better than our culture is actually better, more superior, in my opinion. But far as like them stealing it, I mean, I don't know. Listen, let's be honest here. Africans had tech before the rest of the world. They figure out the constellations of the stars. They've done a lot of math. Our language comes from there. So
No, hold on, hold on, hold on. No, we're not doing that. You're not going to use everything that ever happened in Africa to fight about West Africa. So try again. Try that again. We're talking about banjo in West Africa in the blues. We're not talking about the Dogon and everybody else and what they saw. Everybody could say that. There are pyramids all over the world, okay? And they all have something to do with mapping stars. That's that we're not going to debate that.
So where did the
I'm
banjo
not
come
going to
from?
debate. Stop. Stop. And I'm not going to say that Black Americans built a pyramid over here. Okay? I'm not out of my fucking mind. I'm not trying. We built Chichen Itza. Okay? I'll say the Olmec did it.
Do you have proof of that?
Well, their faces are all over there where they are.
Yeah. But do you have proof of that in literature?
I don't have proof that the Olmec built it, but there's a lot of scientists and researchers over there that feel they did.
Okay. So my point is the same.
There's also people that said aliens
Yeah.
built it.
But
I don't know. I don't have proof of it.
okay. So we can't say for sure. You can't say for sure that they did it. This is just a feeling.
No, I cannot.
Okay. So it's a
But I
feeling.
can say for sure that we created the blues. I can say that for sure. We have the blues artists, we have the recordings, we have the recording dates, we have all the stars, we have all the musicians, and we have thousands and thousands of hours of recording. So I can say that for sure
I'm not
100%. And it has nothing to
right. I'm not
do
arguing
with
that. Are
Africans. And we've had Miles Davis and other artists to say, why are they trying to tie our music to Africa? They have resisted, but then these other people just keep trying to connect dots that are not there.
So
Our music comes from specific experiences. And they keep trying to say, oh, well, what you were doing, those slave songs, those were work songs that we all sang. Well, we know that people sing work songs, but we're doing different things over here. We're singing about different things, like being enslaved, okay? You might be over there singing about just having a hot day in Africa. I don't know, nor do I care. I'm preserving
right. But
my people's work. And I'm happy that they have a slave
so
song
so
book with a
right.
date and a publishing date that people can't worm into and steal.
Right, but what I'm saying, okay, and no one's arguing the point that I didn't hear it. No one argued the point that jazz was not or blues was not created here in America. All forms of music, rock, all these things that white folks took and claimed their own these days, whatever. We created that stuff. Okay, now
Okay, but you wanted to win the point so badly that you started talking about mapping the stars so you
no,
could
it's not
win for
no.
Africa.
But listen, the truth is the truth, especially compared to Europe.
That's
So I don't
that
listen,
has
listen,
nothing to do
listen.
with
No,
it. We're talking about our
yeah.
specific
Well,
culture.
look,
We're not
look.
talking
You
about
just said it,
mapping the
ma'am. You
stars.
just said it yourself. You're talking about slavery here in America. Well, guess what? Africa was enslaved at the same time.
By their
No,
own
no, but
doing.
it
That
wasn't.
doesn't.
Listen.
My thing is about our people.
Well, guess
They're
what? A
over there
lot of those people
enslaving
are our
themselves
people.
now.
That's the facts.
Stop. Congolese people are enslaving Congolese people right now in mines. I don't have anything to do with that. I'm concerned about our experience that we had from dealing with those people. They have not learned one lesson from enslaving people. So I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about what they went through because they invited the devil in. They adopted all of these different religions and languages and they got lost along the way. That's not my problem. I can't fight that for them.
right. And so the first, second, and third generations of Africans that were brought here enslaved,
Uh,
those
are
are
you
people.
aware what happened to the
Those
first,
are our
second, and
those are
third
our people.
generations?
The first, second, third generation.
No,
Oh
no,
no,
no, no. You forgot some things,
they were
sir.
enslaved in
The
here
the
from
first
Africa. First,
generation
second, and third
was
generations.
in. Oh my
Ma'am,
God.
ma'am, let him. We'd like to hear his point of view
Shut
No.
too.
the fuck up.
This
The
this is
first
where the
generation of
blues
people
music was
was
formed by
mass
those
raped.
people. Those people that
The
came from
first
West Africa
generation of
with their
people
music
was
and their
heavily
instruments.
mixed. The first generation of people born in North America was heavily raped, heavily admixed, and then had three choices: continue to be admixed with Europeans, admixed with pure Africans, or admixed with other people that were mixed. You keep forgetting things. You keep acting like people are solid Africans sitting over here retaining their entire history when that did not happen.
No one said they
It was a
retained
thing
their entire.
called ethnocide. It's a something called
No,
ethnocide that
no one's
happened.
arguing that they
You
retained.
cannot speak your language. You can't speak or do anything you were doing before. You're now mixed up with all these other groups, and your goal is to pick as much cotton as we say. There's nothing like what you're
Sure,
describing.
there is.
A whole
There's an
new
old
people
banjo,
was
gourd
born.
banjo, that is exactly like the banjo in
A whole new people was born. Now, did you send me those things? Let Love I Am speak, and make sure you send me some decent recordings from 40s, 50s,
Okay, I have
60s.
some music for you. So I want everybody to hear this before I send
Can
it
you
to you.
can you
Right. Before I send it to you, I'd like for people to just get a quick little
I
sample.
want to see it. May I see it?
You can't see
You
it
need permission to
because
play it
it's
in the
been
Why is
spaces
he setting
anyways.
up
What
recorded.
do you think you're
special
doing?
rules?
That's
Why
I'd
is he
like for
setting up
you
special rules?
to
He just
hear
won't send
it.
it to me so I can see
You
the
first
No,
thing.
asked
I
look,
me
just
if
look,
want to
you
look,
could
see the
hear
look.
it.
thing.
Yeah, he said here
You
is
first
let's
asked
stick
me
to
if
the
you could
rules.
hear it, and then
This
you
is
said,
not
"Can I
his
see it?"
room. Are you crazy? You don't
Yeah,
go
but
in a space and think you're
what are
gonna
y'all
just play
doing? What are you
music. He
hiding?
didn't even shut up. Shut the fuck up, Halo. You're not even black
Nah, you
American.
don't tell me to shut up.
Yes,
I don't
I
know who you
am,
think
and
you
I just
talk.
did.
She talking to you.
The
Okay, you
heck?
guys, listen. Just take a little sample.
He didn't
Listen.
even ask to play the damn music. Who goes into people's
She
spaces
asked
playing
me.
music?
First of
She
all, she
asked you to
said,
send
"Can you
it
play
to
some
her.
music?"
She
She asked
said
me to
send it
play
to
some
her.
music, and then she said, "Can you send it to me?" And I said, "Sure." So I'm going to do
Okay,
both.
so then do
Right.
that
So I'm going to
so
do
that
both
other
like she
people can
asked
Send
me.
it
go.
to me
I'm
so
going
I'll
to
see
do
what you're
both like
playing.
she
What you're
asked me.
playing.
I'm
No,
going to
no,
do
no, no,
both
no,
With
no,
like she
no, no,
asked
acceptance.
no.
me.
She said for
Right.
you to send it on second thought because she didn't want you to just play something arbitrarily with no proof
Right.
of its year. So the
Right.
last thing she told you
Right.
was just to
Send it
send
to
it to
me.
you. Stop playing like you don't know
Right.
shit, bro. You a smart guy.
Right.
Don't
No,
play
you're right.
stupid.
You're absolutely right. So I want to play it for everybody to hear it a little bit, like in
This
nice
is
little
not
snippet,
your
No,
room.
motherfucker,
and then
Are
I'm
you
going to
no.
send it.
asking Nikki? Are you asking Nikki, can you play it? The fuck is wrong with these weirdos?
Miss Nikki, co-host if you please.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, it sounds like a bunch of screaming cats. And there ain't no goddamn Billie Holiday on that motherfucker. So shut the fuck up. Send me that raggedy horn sounding bitch over to my messages so I can see what the hell it is and what the date is. Thank you.
It was loaded up on YouTube 8 years ago.
Do you have the capacity to send it to me?
It takes time to do that, but yeah, I can do that.
Oh, it's a link, right?
I can make it a link. I
A
can copy the
YouTube
link from
link.
YouTube.
Can you send me the link?
Yeah, but
I
I
will
can't send
follow
you the link and
you.
talk at the same time.
We don't find you trustworthy to
Why?
just play some shit. What are
Why?
we talking? Oh my gosh.
Can you DM me the link? What is wrong? Okay, I guess you want my head to explode, and I'm not going to do it. Just send me the link.
And while he's sending the link, I'll just let's let Love I Am speak.
I'm sorry. I don't expect to come in here and be like this. These people are disrespectful. I have never gone into a space and thought I could just play music in a space without permission of the host. So that's utterly ridiculous that that just occurred. And it's because Pan Africanists do not value Black Americans and they overvalue Africans. With that being said, they're not even speaking to the fact that Africa is a misnomer. This was a point that is often made in spaces that was applied to the continent, that was not even applied to the entirety of the continent until the 17th century. So now we're giving these people an opportunity to claim everything is African when literally these groups were separated. There were many dark races that inhabited that continent, and they are not all responsible for doing the same things. So when you see a group who can't even create a toilet, don't say that's the same group that's responsible for introducing math and science to global humanity. Miss us with the bullshit. But I just wanted to say that aside from them not acknowledging that Africa is a misnomer and it's a geographical, it's a continent. It's not an identity. It's not a um one single all encompassing term for all the populations that live there. That's not a reality. They gloss over that. Can they address that? That's my first point. My second point is, if we know the blues is not just the instrumentation, but it's also the spirit and the soul behind it, then is it safe to say that that comes out of the experiences of our ancestors that were able to create these genres of music, and they didn't exist anywhere on the planet before we created them?
I would say it's safe to say that yes, it's going to be a different
And never was I
ethos.
asking you a question. I'm talking to
Oh,
Wani.
oh,
I
I thought
never would ask
you
you a
didn't
question.
specify
I
who
don't
it was
believe.
to.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be
Right,
funny.
but
I'm
I'm
just talking
answering
to
it
Wani.
anyway
Can you
since
allow
no one
Wani
said
to answer
anything.
it? Why
Right,
would you keep talking after?
because I'm
I'm
in the
asking
conversation. That's
Wani.
why I'm in the
Okay, but
conversation.
Wani is the co-host, and I'm
Okay,
talking to her.
that's
So,
fine
like, why would you come off mic to answer it? That doesn't even
because
make
you didn't
sense.
specify to who it was.
You're not the host, so
But
you
you
can't
still didn't
speak unless they
specify
give
to
you
who it was.
permission.
I'm in the conversation.
What are you talking about? What are you
I
talking
sent it to
about?
Wani.
What
Wani, I sent
happened?
it to you in your
Send her
DM.
the
What happened?
music.
I'm listening. I'm listening. Okay, did somebody ask me a question though?
Yes, I was just saying that, can we acknowledge that these genres of music, they're not solely the instrumentation, they're literally the experiences of the individuals creating the music during that time. So it's ridiculous to assert that
Right.
they came from Africa. And I appreciate our
Yeah.
experience because God literally severed the tie there so that no one could claim us or our contributions to humanity. And anybody doing that is disrespectful.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm looking at these gentlemen play and I'm just trying to find out the name of this type of music so I can see other examples of it and do like a comparison of like what it might be, uh where they're going with it because I really can't tell, how many instruments they might use in this type of music. And so it's going to take me a little bit. Keep We can keep talking, but I just need to see the name of, because it just says musical traditions in Mali, and I'm looking for a name of the music. So keep talking though.
So who is this that just came to the stage? Is this Halo? We're gonna need you to speak, not speak out of turn this time. If you're gonna speak, just don't speak out of turn. You can
Yeah,
speak.
let's say though. Is it my turn or?
Go ahead. Go ahead. You can speak.
Yeah, look, I'm used to conversations. Even if we disagree, we still hear each other out, let people prove their points and move on. When people try to like, just cut people off, I get it. It's their room or their people that they're in the group with. It kills the flow, kills the argument. If you actually believe in what you're actually believing in, I mean, this shouldn't be this shouldn't shake your foundation. But when you act out of emotion and screaming and everything, I think we are just the conversation is not productive.
Okay. All right. So what was your subject, your original subject when you came in here?
So my original subject was just, was the banjo and where it originated from, and people were saying that it was the American thing. When if you ask Alexa, and it actually give you the origins from, yes, here in America to the Caribbean to Africa. That's where it traces back to. But I guess I'm a little confused because I'm just wondering why all this hatred and anger towards people that look like us compared to the other people.
Hold on a second.
Compared,
Average, are you on the I'm just trying to get average back up.
Yeah, because it said that he was a co-host, so I just dropped him back down when he said that I dropped him back down.
Right. It showed him as a co-host and he was asking to be let up.
he might have to leave the room and come back in.
Let's do
Yeah,
it
you're
like
gonna have
this.
to leave the room and come back in because it's saying something. Oh,
Crazy.
here you
So
are. Okay.
Halo, I really resent you saying that I have hatred or dislike of people when what I'm saying is that you did not create the blues. That's a difference. I don't know why defining ourselves comes off as hate. Usually I get accused of not wanting to be African. It's like, well, if I don't want to be African, then tough nuts on that because I have 38 countries represented in my DNA that are from Africa. I also have a lot of other things going on. Like I said, some of those ancestors from Africa, um, two of those already have other things admixed in. So when you say somebody is African, you can't even say that about a Black American's DNA profile. It makes no sense. It shows that you don't know what a Black American's DNA profile looks like, and you're just simply going by people being brown. And if someone says, no, this is my stuff, these are the things that my people created, then you automatically start saying we don't like those other people. And all we're trying to
Huh?
do is define
I
ourselves.
Why,
don't think
why
I
I've
don't
you
ever
not
said
liking
understand.
that.
people just because you created some new stuff out of some old stuff?
We didn't create new stuff out of old stuff.
That's what blues is.
We created new things with new instruments in a new place after a long period of time of separation from places that you can't even prove we belong to. You're saying that this music, what about all the people that are not from Mali? Everybody doesn't have these places on their DNA
Right.
And
profile.
that's fine.
What are you going to do
I
about
But
that?
mean,
We're an
there's an explanation
amalgamated
for that if
people.
you allow people to interject.
Stop for
Right.
a moment.
If you allow people
Can
to
you
interject, because
admit?
when you talk for so long, we lose the point,
Okay,
and then you go on to another point, and then we can't even.
Well, then
okay.
start your own
So
space.
we're in
Then, if you
Well,
don't
no,
like how
we're
it's
having
run.
if you
that's
don't
not the
want me in there,
problem.
that's fine. I mean, I'll leave. But if you're gonna have a conversation, then don't go on and on and on and start changing subject matters, and then we're trying to comment on the first one, and now you off to number three.
Why are you acting like we're not a product of ethnogenesis in America
No
and we're
one said
not
that
an
we're not.
amalgamated group of people? You're acting like people just floated over, kept their music traditions, had the same cornrows in their hair that they had when they left on a slave ship, and
Nah,
just added some
a lot of us are
extensions. You're
mixed.
not
I wouldn't
you're
argue
not
that about
taking
blues,
into
but I wouldn't argue that
you're
about
not
jazz because jazz is
you're not
different
you're
than
not taking
blues,
into
right? So jazz is
you're
different than
not taking
blues.
into
No, and I
consideration.
would agree with
But
you on a point that you mentioned about something new that would be jazz. But even when you look at the structure of jazz, how they use improvisation, the people take turns doing solos. That's a type of
here we go
improvisation.
again.
The there are other
Where are the
aspects
Africans
about jazz
doing
that
that?
it gives it sort of a context that comes out of a culture. It doesn't come out of European culture. Jazz does not. It doesn't come out of Indian culture. It clearly does not come out of that. So, but if you can identify certain things that come out of it. One is another thing that I almost forgot to mention is apprenticeship. So the process of learning is through apprenticeship, like they do in Africa. Another process, another level, next level of learning or involvement in this type of music is uh, what do they call it? Being innovative. So creating, I think even that's the highest level, but imitation is the next level. So apprenticeship, imitation, then improvisation, and then innovation. Those are the same steps, the
Okay.
same process that they take people through in West Africa in terms of a learning process. That's a system, and they have
Okay.
names for those.
They do that a lot of
Right.
places.
Well, but
Okay, so
it is a tradition in
let's
West
ask.
Africa.
Let me ask you this
But
question.
before you ask me that
Your
question, can I
premise?
ask you something? Because I was talking, I got cut off. This look,
No, you can't. I want to ask him a question. If our people, because like you're skipping over like centuries. So if our people came on a slave ship from, we'll just pick Mali, since I was looking up that music. They came on a slave ship from Mali. They get to the first stop is the Caribbean. They're broken down, fucked up, seasoned before they're ready to go to North America. Okay? That was a normal process. So if they came over here with all these banjos and shit, all these afros and cornrows and cornbread and greens and fried chicken on the slave ship, if that was a fact, okay, then why aren't those things in the Caribbean?
I can answer that.
Why don't we have the blues in the
I can answer
Caribbean
that
where they first
before
stopped?
you go further
Yeah.
into other stuff. I can answer that. Can we let me answer that? The reason that that is also in the Caribbean is that it took on a different form, and I'll give you an example: "Rah Rah Music of Haiti." But the whole being able to retain, because Haiti was one of the worst, most strict colonies and most abusive and hardest colonies. People had a lifespan of 5 years, 10 at the most, and they would be worked to death, right? So it was worse than any other colony. Yet the people of Haiti were able to revolt, and before they got their freedom, they revolted using their tradition. How, as fucked up as they was, were they able to enact, not enact, but bring a ritual from Africa that allowed them to invoke the spirit of Ogun, and that spirit of Ogun is part of the oath that was taken by thousands of people, including the priest of Ogun that led the revolt. So they use African science in order to free themselves. How were they able to do that? And they were so fucked up. As well as drums, as well as knowledge of herbs and how to poison the motherfucking slave masters. They were poisoning them, and they were teaching them warfare. In fact, there's a story about a woman, the woman who raised Dessalines was a Dahomean warrior. Oh, the slave people that sold us in slave, yeah, them motherfuckers. They was also captured and took, but she taught Dessalines warfare and how to fight. Another name for them was a group of them that the Catholic Church put them in charge. They called them the Dada, and they were all warriors from Dahomey. And the Catholic Church didn't know it, but these women were teaching the populations about warfare, and Dessalines was directly under. So how did they do all of this? And they were fucked up and broke buck broken, and all of the shit that we know that we went through, right? Before they were shipped to the either other plantations on the islands or the United States. So and still we had.
Well, when I'm listening to this music, sounds closer to what you produced and does not sound as refined and as fly as hell as blues and jazz. Doesn't sound anything like it. It sounds like instruments being thrown
music
around.
evolves.
Very
Right, it's
dis
not supposed to sound
very
exactly the same.
disorganized.
Yeah.
It's not an
It doesn't
evolution
sound
of
exactly the
this.
same, which is why it's not blues. And no one says that what they're playing in
Yes,
Mali is
correct.
blues. What we're saying is that the music obviously comes out of that music. It is the foundation of
No,
blues.
it's not
Well, yeah,
obvious.
Sure, it
well,
It's
is.
not
The
obvious.
instrument is called
throughout the
banjo.
decades, music evolves. I mean, that's just our '60 music doesn't sound like music of
What the
today.
fuck do you mean
That's not
You-
where it
ours?
evolved from.
Mexican?
Our
Yeah.
music from the
You Mexican.
'60s
Stay the fuck out of it.
do not sound like. I mean, come on, man. There's some common sense stuff here.
He's
Bruh.
No, I'm
Mexican?
not
Yes.
Mexican.
Yeah,
I
you
know.
are.
All right, bro. Whatever, man.
Hey,
Right.
those who know.
Okay.
Those who know.
Whenever you lose an argument, you claim somebody to be something
We
else, and they're
already
not
had
black.
3 hour spaces on your identity, brother.
Man,
We already
please,
did that.
bro.
Okay, so
I'm
here's
blacker
the
than you, my
problem with
man.
that.
Period.
It's not about who's the darkest. So it's about the culture. Um, the issue is that we've been doing these songs, and like I said, we have this documented from the 1600s to the 1900s. We do have it documented in 1853, and we have people writing about the fact that we were doing this music from the 1600s to the 1900s. Okay, so I don't buy that we floated on the slave ship over to the islands and then created blues there, a little bit of kind of blues, some kind of bluesy stuff, and then further went on to North America, where we created yet another uh, genre of music, which we call the blues. I just don't buy that. It doesn't sound like it, and it just we have an evolution of music here. Go ahead, Average.
Man, just real quick. I'm not gonna get off the point that Sha played that music. Of course, he wasn't asked to play the music, but when he played the music, it was obvious that that was something different. Not only that, we don't know what date it came from. Doesn't have a date. All we have is word of mouth assumptions, and what you're presenting is, well, this came from this. It's what you believe. It's not what you can prove in your argument. Over here, it's what you can prove. That's what she's saying. I'm noticing you're not sticking to that. It's about what you think something came from. And it's a belief system. It's, well, we all came from Africa, so it's Africanizing anything that Black Americans did. We are our own people, just like Brazilians are, just like Jamaicans are. You will call Jamaicans Jamaicans. You don't call them African Jamaicans. I've never heard a Pan African say that. Right now, these music styles, genres that you're saying that birthed what we have now, you can't prove predated what we created. You haven't presented any dates, no proof, no nothing. And you're like, well, it's an instrument. Man, you could put an instrument in anybody's hands in this room, and some of us will play shit, and a very few of us can make art. That's number one. Then there's the circumstances, the culture, and then what it's in the artist's mind to create. There's all of these things that go into creating a genre, right? There's nothing today that looks like what we're doing today that predates us, that is over there when it comes to musical genres. It's just not there. It doesn't exist. It's a fairy tale. And you haven't presented the facts.
I
You've only
just did
presented
in the
an opinion. No,
jumbotron.
you
Look in
didn't.
the
You presented
jumbotron.
an opinion. You
Look in
presented
the
an opinion.
jumbotron.
You presented an opinion.
No,
You
I
did not
just put
present
something in the
music.
jumbotron in the
You
last
did
10
not present
seconds.
music.
It's
Hey,
in
yo,
the
You
bro,
did
just look
not
in the
present
jumbotron.
music
jumbotron.
Look in the
that you can
jumbotron.
prove predates
Right.
our
I'm
music. You
proving
No.
it.
didn't do it.
I'm
You
Okay.
proving
failed,
it.
sir. You
I'm proving
failed.
it.
Bro,
Okay.
You
Look in the
bro,
failed.
Okay.
jumbotron.
Hold
Of
on.
bro.
course you won't. Look in the
You
Hold on a
jumbotron.
failed.
second.
You failed.
Hold on. Hold on. I think we keep getting back to the banjo, which is not really the argument. The argument is we created music. These people had banjos, they had thumb pianos in East Africa. They had instruments all over Africa. However, they never created a popular music genre that the whole world wanted to embrace. Okay? So like you're showing me these
You
things,
keep
and like I said, I read
you keep
about
moving the
a band.
goalposts though. You
No, I'm
Yes, you are.
not.
Now
I
you're
read
saying that
about a
they didn't
banjo in
create a
Haiti.
popular genre that the world they don't need to have
I'm
done that.
just saying they had they. You're
Yeah,
showing, okay, so
they
number
don't
one,
need
you
to.
showed me some guys sitting on the ground in color in a modern video playing. That doesn't tell me who created anything. They're playing anything that they want to play. I don't know what they're
Right.
But
playing.
but
We
but
It's
can't prove
this
how
traditional.
is the
their
thing,
It's
music
right?
sounded.
traditional artists. They're playing a traditional instrument, and it's only 15 years
That's
old.
If
not
anyone who's a music head or understands music or the type of art music produces, right?
can I talk,
Let me just
please.
say this. The thing is, you can tell what
Hey, yo, my,
time
my turn
era,
got stepped on, so why are
you
you
can tell
talking?
what
I'm
time
the one that
era,
got cut off, so why are you
you can
talking?
tell
I'm
what
the one that
time
got cut off,
era
so why are you
music was
talking,
actually
bro? No,
recorded
no, 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 no,
because of the
no. No,
technology
no,
that
let's have some decorum. I got cut off. You can talk after me.
This
You can
is
talk after me. I'm the one that got cut
this
off by
is
Shaw.
ridiculous.
All right?
if there's
Now
music
here,
from the
no, no, no,
19
no, no. No, I got cut
bro,
off by Shaw. I'm going to finish my turn, and then you can go to yours. All right? Now,
Okay,
that banjo bullshit, oh, well, it's blues got created here because this music, this instrument called the banjo or whatever, the bandula or whatever the fuck. Oh, it was in Africa before the banjo. That means absolutely nothing. White people had the same instruments black people had, even in America, and could not create the same fucking genres of music, even here on the same continent, on the same in the same country, in the same city and town. Couldn't do the same thing. Why? Two different peoples, two different cultures. That's irrefutable. Your best response is to present the similar instrument, a similar, not the same, similar instrument. That's your best argument to say that a whole musical genre, a style of music, artistic expression, what it comes from there because of the instrument. Man, there were all kind of horns, strings, all kind of things are in different people's hands, and they can do whatever the fuck they want to do with them. But guess what? The people's, the culture, the music, the expression is all different. It's all different. And guess what? This is ours. This is our art form. And by the way, Halo Forever, I have a degree from Musicians Institute in Hollywood, California. I'm more than just a music head. All right. So no, you can't just give something to somebody because, oh yeah, this whole ideology of everything's from Africa. No, people created a genre of music. The recordings exist, the dates exist, the facts are there, and you didn't present any facts on the genre of music, on the actual recordings, on the culture that makes this music, and when it happened. You failed in this particular subject matter, in this argument, unless, of course, you can somehow come up with an actual song that predates what we created in the same genre. If you can't do that, then you failed. It's over.
No, you're using
so,
her metric, and her metric is wrong. So for you to just
What
I'm
regurgitate
facts?
not.
her metric of
hey,
what qualifies it being legitimate is bullshit. Why don't you
can
come up
we
with
can
your
we
own?
Okay,
can we
what
just
Come
about
say
up with
that
your
this?
this
own
was
metric
scripted?
of what
No,
Can we
we
qualifies
just
this to
can't.
be real and
Halo,
not real.
stop, Halo. Hold on a
It doesn't
second.
have to come from a time
I'm
period before the earliest recordings of the United States. That's bullshit. Traditional music is fucking traditional music.
stop. No,
It
it's not.
is.
No,
Yes,
it
that's like
isn't. If
classical
we
music
play
in the United
traditional,
States is you can go
no, if
back
we play
100 years.
traditional
The
music,
stuff that they play in the symphonies today, they play the exact same things that were
but
written.
they don't have music. They don't have
They
it
don't need to
written.
have it written. It's an
Bach,
oral tradition.
they
No, they
do.
don't.
They
No, they
do.
don't. It's an oral
Bach and them
tradition.
wrote their
It
stuff
is an
down.
oral
That's why
tradition.
I
It
can
doesn't need to be
play.
written. Everybody.
Oh, yes, the hell
eh,
it
No,
does,
yo,
you're
is it
you're
Nikki.
you
fair
sound
just to
like a
When you're
white
going to
say
girl. You
steal,
sound like a
when you're going to steal somebody's
you
music
sound like a
genre, you
European,
better come with the
Wani. You sound
facts.
like a European that it
Now,
has to be written.
you need
That's
to come
bullshit.
with the facts. You got to come
Ifa
with the fact.
tradition
You
is
don't steal
oral.
somebody's music
Ifa
genre.
tradition
That's
is
like
oral. It's not
saying,
written, and
uh,
they do have written stuff in West
that's
Africa.
your problem.
Right, and
That's
they
your
do have
problem.
written stuff in
Now,
Mali, West Africa. They have
well, may I say something?
you don't say nothing at all.
The reason that I can play a classical song from uh, 1700s is because guess what? They wrote the
right, and you've
notes
made that point.
down, and
Yeah,
they
we get
wrote
it.
the
Right, we get it.
instrumentation
We get it.
down.
We
So yes, I can play it just
right,
like they were
right, and
playing
that
it,
doesn't make
or
it more
I can
legitimate than
make
an
it
oral
modern.
tradition.
I
Sorry.
could make it modern, and I could
Yes,
add some other
but
things
that
to
doesn't
it.
make it
And
more
I could say,
legitimate
"Hey,
than
this
oral
classical
traditions.
music."
It doesn't.
It
No,
does.
you
It
sound like
does
a
when you're
white
trying
woman.
to steal someone
Right.
else's. It does
That's a
when you're
white
trying to
person
steal someone
standard.
else's
That's very
music.
Eurocentric.
Now, if
You're
you're just
judging other
no,
cultures from a Eurocentric point of view.
stop,
That's what
stop.
you're doing.
If you were just saying, "Hey, Wani, this is some cool music. Listen to it," Doesn't it sound similar? Blah, blah, blah. That's one thing. But when you're trying to steal another person's music genre, you need to have some facts because
Well,
at this point, you could say, oh, by the way, some Haitians were the first people to do this, that, and the other thing. And I go, really? Uh, do you have
there's
show me his
there's
Olympic
an
performance?
article.
Oh no, there was no picture of the Olympic performance. We just have a Haitian guy that ran
Right.
faster than the guy
So
you had at the
there's an
Olympics.
article.
That's actually what a
And
Jewish
there's an
person
article
did.
called
A
Melody
Jewish
Links
person
Between
had.
Mali and Mississippi. I put it in a
There's plenty of
jumbotron. Why
articles
don't you
by
guys take a little
Pan-Africanists.
look at it? It's called
I
Melodic
know
Links
all
Between
about
Mali and
Afrocentric.
Mississippi. Check it out.
I know a
Check it
lot of.
out.
I will.
There's no facts in
I
it.
have read a lot.
Did you
I've
read?
read
You
a
read it
lot
already?
of.
Yeah.
I've read
Oh,
a.
really? And there's no facts in it.
I've read.
I don't think. I think there is facts in it because I
No,
can
I'm
read it.
talking about
Ah,
music. There's no
Okay,
musical
so
facts on a
I'm
song that
just
predate.
saying.
Hold on a second.
I
A
loaded
blues
the
song
article.
that predates
Right?
our
No, it
blues.
doesn't need to
It's
predate.
not. No, it does need a
No,
fact.
it
You're making
doesn't.
the
No,
claim.
it doesn't.
You're making the claim.
No, we're not trying to talk about a
You're
specific time
making the
period.
claim,
We're
sir.
talking
You
about
made
a
the claim.
genre of music. A
You
genre
make,
of music
and you
does not
haven't proven that.
necessarily
You
a
haven't proven
genre
it.
of music does not necessarily have to be from a specific time. It does not. That's like saying that blue. That's
What?
like saying that
What?
jazz. That's like saying
It
that
does
jazz
have to
from
be from a time
1930,
before what you're saying. You're
1930
saying
or
one influence the other.
1940,
It
and then
has to predate it.
jazz can only be from 1930
It
or
wow.
has to
1940.
predate it, Sha. It's
So that's
logic.
like saying
It
jazz can
has
only
to
be from
predate it.
1930 or 1940, and any jazz that's in
It has
1960
to
or
what?
1970 is
It
not
has to
legitimate.
predate it, you fool.
Right. So
It has. You have
you're
to
not
show
making
proof that
you're
it
not
predates
making an
it.
argument that is strong.
No, you're
All
Yeah,
you're
not.
you
saying,
haven't really
all
You're
proved
you're
it
not.
either,
saying
bro.
is that the
You're
music
not.
to
You
qualify
haven't proved
this
it either,
music to
bro.
be legitimate, it needs to be before
We
any
have
Hey,
definitely
recording
I can't
proved the
hear
that
you, Halo.
created jazz and
Europeans
blues.
recorded us. Europeans recorded us in the 1800s,
We
and you're saying that there needs to be a
Us.
proved.
Who's
recording
us?
earlier than
Who's
the
us?
1800s for it to be
Who's
People
us?
with
legitimate. You
African
sound
descent,
Who
bro.
very
is us?
intelligent.
I mean, look, this
You
whole
sound
argument could
not
be
Be
shut down.
specific.
That we
average.
could just say that
Be
people with
specific. Shut
African
up, Halo.
descent
You're the dumbest guy in the
created
room.
this.
Shut up.
Hey, yo, you shut up.
I'm getting
You a
dumber
bum.
listening
Stop
to you. Shut
playing, nigga.
up.
No,
You
no,
have
no,
nothing to offer.
no,
First of
bro. He
all, you're
does.
not a black
He's making
American.
good
Bro,
points,
all you
and
doing
you're
is
not.
screaming. All you doing is
Stop it, Shy.
screaming.
You're saying, wait, hold on a second. Tell me, I want to hear what Shy said. You're saying Halo's making good points and I'm
It was
not.
my turn
Are you gonna
next. I
die?
said
Are
here
you
and I
gonna
was
die on that
quiet.
hill?
I'll let Halo
Are you
speak.
gonna
Come on,
die on
Let
that
other
man.
hill?
people
Come on.
speak,
Can I
bro.
finish? Can I say
You gonna
something
die
now,
on that
bro?
hill?
Hold on. Okay. Sorry, everybody. I want to clarify something. You were saying that you don't have to show us pre-jazz songs. You just have to show us whatever the hell you want to show us. And we have to take the date, and it could be something that they were influenced by after we created several genres of music. These men are sitting down here playing music, modern times. You said it says it was 8 years old. I mean, it's in color. I don't know what these men's influences are. You're going to have to prove something. There has to be a recording of them playing this type of music prior to that time in black and white. Some European went over there and recorded them since they don't have the capabilities of recording their own stuff or doing something or recording the music. If it was important to them, if it had some value, they would record it. You would draw it on a cave, build a building, a stone building about it. That's what people do when they want to save their history. When people want to save their history, they record it in a library, they record it in something, they record it on film, audio, they draw it in a cave. For Christ's sakes, the Khoisan have their history in a cave. So, no, they may not have the greatest writing system. No, they don't have a big library of books, but I know what they were doing
He's only
because it's in
acknowledging.
the cave.
He's only acknowledging
You sound
European.
stupid,
European.
Ronnie.
Dude, dude. He's only acknowledging European documentation. Oh my God. And I noticed that he doesn't care about somebody writing something in a cave or anything like that. He only acknowledges what the European want to document.
But didn't I just talk about the all of the transcripts that are in Timbuktu that are 1,000 years, almost a
Well,
thousand years
can you
old?
show them?
Didn't I just finish
Can you
talking about
show
that,
those
Nikki? Nikki,
Arabized?
didn't I just
Can you
finish
show
talking
us those
about that?
Arabized
Written in
things?
Latin, written in Arabic, written in traditional
Yeah,
African languages.
everything but
Didn't
show
I
it.
just
Good
Show
finish
us.
point.
talking about that,
Show us.
Nikki? That is not European. That's Africans that were
Show
scholars
us.
doing
Show
their
us.
work.
Show us.
So, oh, you want Timbuktu transcripts?
What? Yes. And what are they about? Could you tell
Oh,
me what the
Oh,
now
they're
what are
the
they
subject
about?
you
is?
really surprising me, Wani, that you don't know anything
What's
about
the topic
Timbuktu and all the
about?
transcripts that
I
were
even know
found.
about Timbuktu
You're
too.
No, 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 no,
surprising me
no.
that you don't know
Wow.
that.
The
It's
You're
not
not as
disposition,
about.
intelligent as I thought you were, and some of your
the
arguments are
I
trolling,
very
do
stupid,
know.
kind of.
I do
trolling.
know the transcripts, and I do know about Timbuktu. I know that I couldn't get there because I was going to get murdered and shot
Are
in the
you
back.
from Europe?
So check
Are you
this
from
out.
Europe?
Should check this out. Is it in Los Angeles? Shut up. I said, what were the topics on these transcripts? I didn't say I didn't know about Timbuktu. So you guys have some learning disabilities. I said, what am I trying to find on these transcripts? Are you going to send me transcripts of music? Are these transcripts of their education? What are these transcripts of? You're just screaming about
Well, I
transcripts that are in
yeah.
Arabic and that they're in traditional languages and that they're in what did you say, Latin, Arabic, and a traditional African language. What are those transcripts trying to tell
So
me is what I'm trying
right,
to
they're in
ask.
different. So, in fact, there's one transcript they found that was second year would be equivalent to second year mathematics in a modern day 4-year college. Someone who's majoring in math in their second year at a Harvard or a whatever, any university in the United States or Europe. That level of math they found in a transcript in Timbuktu that is
But that's
500 or 600
Timbuktu.
years old.
We just discussed the fact that the
That's just one.
Islam
That's
and the
just one
Arabic
subject matter.
influence.
That's one subject
We
matter.
just discussed that. Why do we have to have Timbuktu as the only example?
It isn't
That's
the
just
only
one.
example. It isn't. They found in
It's just
Ishangi
one
bone. They
place.
found in Ishangi bone in Congo that had math, inscribed on the bone. That's
Oh,
twenty-five
you don't
thousand
have to
years ago.
convince me about
And then
math. You don't have to
they've got
convince me
medical
about.
papyrus.
Hold on. Hold on, fast lips. You don't need to convince me about advanced science in
Right.
Africa. We're not going there. I already know
That's
about it.
only
I've
one
already written
subject
about
matter.
it. That's not the
Right.
issue.
So,
We're talking about, let's go through these music
right.
genres
Right.
because now we've drifted off to
Well,
transcripts in
you
Timbuktu.
wanted to know about it.
And I
What
did
No,
ask
no,
you,
she didn't.
I did ask you the contents of the transcripts, and that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for something about some
right.
music.
So
So
they
we're going to
didn't.
stay on the
Right.
music
So they
thing.
did not notate the music. I actually took a class in college that notates dance. It's called Laban movement notation, something like that, LMA, and it's a new system that a white boy created to notate. You can write down dance. Well, the Africans in West Africa, although they wrote down other subject matters, poetry, literature of different kinds, math, medicine, all of these different subject matters, they didn't write down music because they didn't want to or felt the need to. And if they wanted to,
That's
they would
fine.
have. They didn't want to. So the people,
Don't they not like music in those traditions in Islamic or Muslim traditions?
Sorry about
Hello, Shah.
I muted everybody. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I was asking Shah, do they have a resistance toward music like they do now in Islamic um, education?
do they have a resistance toward music in Islamic
Yes,
education? A resistance
yes,
toward music. Oh, okay. Um,
yes.
I don't think so, but they do have a resistance toward traditional African spirituality in Islamic education. But as far as music, um, I would say no. that was more less of a threat to Islam. And even the Sufist branch of Islam has amalgamated a lot of some of the traditional practices because the Africans ain't having it. As well, their dress and their thing there, it's definitely they're more kept more of the African culture with the Sufist branch that they don't the Orthodox Islams don't acknowledge. However, back to the music part of it, traditional Malian people are not listening to blues from the 30s, 40s, 50s, or earlier. They're not listening to that and going, "We need to make our music like this." That's ridiculous. For you to
But
even
that's
say that is
exactly what
ridiculous.
Afrobeat did.
It's
That's
very. It
exactly
doesn't
what
make
they
any
did with
sense.
High
It's
Life.
not
That's what
probable.
they did with High Life, and that's what
No,
they did
no,
with
you can't
Afrobeat.
compare High
Afro,
Life to ancient Mali music. They've been playing that shit for hundreds of years.
but I don't know what that
I just
sounds
gave you a little
like.
sample of it so you can look, you can Google and find that
I
it's more
will.
like that.
And I also looked up the Haitian music as well. I will look at it. But again, like I said, if our first stop was the Caribbean before we were broken and brought here, I just feel like the time frame of making the blues, there's a gap in between that because there was a point of being enslaved and not being able to express yourself at all. And then all of this music popped off.
Yet they can still keep voodoo and other the
Well,
food.
we're not talking about
Well,
voodoo.
but that's
And
culture though.
Haiti was allowed to keep voodoo. We were
In New
not
Orleans,
allowed
they
to
have
keep
voodoo in New
voodoo.
Orleans. What you talking about?
Well, again, didn't we just say that? New Orleans is its own
Yeah, but
thing. New
that's the
Orleans
United
has
States,
Mardi
and my people
Gras,
are from there
they
though.
have voodoo.
Right. So that's part of
New
that's
Orleans
part of the
has,
United States, and
stop, stop it. Voodoo is not part of Black American
sure it
culture.
is.
It's localized in Mardi
Yeah,
Gras.
sure it is.
It's localized like just like Mardi Gras, just like Louisiana Creole cooking.
Right. That's part of
It's
American
localized.
culture,
It
African
is, but
American
it's
culture.
not widespread.
That doesn't matter.
And we don't practice
It doesn't
voodoo
matter.
normally.
Everybody didn't practice hoodoo. Hoodoo. Everybody didn't practice
That's
hoodoo.
correct. But again, practicing that still does not show me how people can come up with entire music
Right.
genres that they just held on to from being in the Caribbean for
They
a
didn't come
while
up with
and being
entire music
welcome.
genre. The Africans that were descendants
Well,
of the
we did.
Malian, Guinea,
We
Senegal
did come
people
back.
didn't come to
But
the United States
at
and
this
go
point, we're
blues.
not.
Let's play some blues. No,
At
what
this
they
point,
did
we're
is they
not
were playing
descendants
their
of
music and
them.
they adapted it to whatever was in their environment. But what's
But we
interesting about
weren't
it
those people,
But what's
though.
interesting about it is it sounds similar enough to be able to make the connection. However, for me, the point that someone made about the ethos of the music, the vibe of the music is different. It's more up, it's more celebrative. It was like they're singing about the sun or love or something. Ours is more of I think, a healing music that it is talking about our experience and is deep and heavy with our experience of the suffering that we went through. That's what our blues is. That's what our music that evolved into blues is. It's not the same as
Okay,
African music,
so
and the difference is in the ethos of the music.
okay, so here's one of the issues again. If this is a Malian form of music, and then that Malian person went to North America, and then the second generation is with Europeans and other people who are already mixed and other pure Africans. And the chances of the person that they're hooking up with being exactly from their tribe over and over and over again, retaining that doesn't make any sense that they're going to just retain this one thing. We're not from one tribe, is what I keep trying to tell people, but they just want to act like we got something from one tribe and ran with it, and that's impossible. It does not consistent with our DNA profile. We just have a very heavy amalgamation
I
going on
agree.
of a whole lot of different
I agree.
things
Even in
and
Mali, there's a lot of
influences.
different ethnic groups. So there's different traditional musics within Mali, Guinea, Gambia, Senegal. But Congo is
Okay.
also a heavy influence in our music and dance in the United States.
Oh, Lord jeez. Well, how come they don't have these things?
But they do.
I've seen them dance and they don't dance like us.
They
They dance
do. I
up
was
and
in the
down and we
Congo,
dance
and they
side to
there's
side.
some similarities, a lot of similarities in the dances of the
Oh
Congo
my God.
and the dances of
What? They
Senegal,
do we
Guinea.
both have bodies?
Right.
We both have bodies?
So
I know how they dance. They dance up and down. We dance side to
no,
side.
in the Congo they don't dance, they don't jump and do
Okay.
up and down. The
Okay.
Mali, Guinea, Senegal is more up
Okay.
and down, but the Congo is
Okay.
more transverse movement, side to side is more the Congo.
Okay.
Hips, torso,
Okay.
yeah.
And they created hip hop. Okay, great.
No, I didn't say that. I said hips, transverse movement in the hips and the
Go
torso.
ahead, love I am.
That not hip hop.
Why
Which
is
tribe
he
is
not
this?
acknowledged? Oh, I'm sorry, Ronnie.
No, I was just gonna say real quickly, which tribe is this that goes side to side
I would
in the
say
Congo?
transverse circular motions in the hips and the torso.
I mean, no. Which tribe is
So
doing
there
it?
are a lot of tribes in the Congo that use their hips and their
Let
torso.
me just go look while love I am
The Congo,
talks.
one of the
Okay,
largest
hold on.
groups, is the one that is
Okay.
probably the biggest influence is the Congo ethnic group.
Why is he not acknowledging
Okay.
that Africa is a misnomer? There is no such thing as this all encompassing term that categorizes or classifies all the inhabitants of the continent, which is why even the term white that we use, defined by the census, is inclusive of Northern Africans and those in the Middle East. So the fact that it's possible for some Africans who are from Africa to be a different racial classification than other Africans who are from Africa shows that there is no all encompassing idea of what an African is.
What
The
are you
reason why
talking about?
I'm not talking to you, just understand that when I'm speaking, it's because Nikki and Juan. If this was your space, I would not be in here, Shy. I'm talking to Wani. I'm talking to the room. I'm not talking to you. I don't care about you.
I'm not
That being
talking to you
said,
necessarily.
okay,
I
so
mean, I'm
stop
looking
interrupting
at
me then. I didn't interrupt you.
I'm looking at these Congolese dances, traditional Congolese dances, and they're not going side to.
And
They're not
he's not
dancing like this.
acknowledging that there were different dark races on the continent. So what you can attribute to one group may not be what you would attribute to another group. But he's acting like these are all the same fucking people. Just because it's the Congo doesn't mean that those are our ancestors. It doesn't mean that they are the same group or whatever. Like, I'm just saying that there were many dark races, so it would be important to name because what you're saying comes from Egypt. That the Egyptian is not
What?
who we are.
Nobody mentioned Egypt, and nobody's
You
talking
guys
about
mentioned,
an
you literally
African
mentioned, you
flat thing.
mentioned, can you shut the fuck up and let me speak? I'm
Yeah, but
talking
love
about
I
the
am, you
fact
do
that,
that all the time. Love I am.
yeah, so I want to speak alone and the host can check me if I'm out of order. The fuck? Anyways, what I'm saying is that, first of all, the guy that was up here earlier literally said anybody could have come up with blues. Everyone has been through some hardship. There was slavery going on the continent. But you just said a second ago that the blues, the ethos or whatever, has a lot to do with our unique experiences. But this guy was acting like just to have suffered an experience, you can come up with blues. That's not a fact. But he did say that earlier in the conversation, that guy that was on the stage earlier. And with you talking about the origins of certain things, I'm just saying that it cannot be, you're speaking in this framework like every African is the same African, and we clearly know that that's not true because
I
even
didn't.
today they're in various stages of their progress. Like, they're in various different stages. We know that Northern Africa has something different going on than West African Africa and things like that. So even when you're saying that something is coming from Africans and you're making it like it's this all encompassing identity, that in and of itself is very pseudo. That's what I'm
Right.
trying to say. That
We
in
got
and
it.
of itself is very pseudo. It doesn't make sense to do. So unless you're going to identify that
We've
these
been
groups,
identifying ethnic
unless you're,
groups.
I want to finish what I'm saying. I don't, I'm about to finish what I'm saying. So unless you're going to identify where these groups were directly responsible for influencing things that our group has done, I don't think that you can make these correlations the way that you're trying to make, because you're trying to correlate everything back to African. That's a misnomer. You're trying to correlate everything back to
Um,
this
but we're
all-encompassing
talking
identity
about
that
Mali.
doesn't
All right.
apply.
We're talking about Mali. We're not talking about Africa. We're not even
I'm
talking
not. I'm
about
talking
West
about the
Africa.
full. I'm talking about the
We've been
whole of the
talking about
I'm talking about the
Mali.
whole of the conversation. I just got back to
Right.
the room. I
The
don't
whole of the
care. I'm
conversation
talking
has been
about.
about
I'm
Malian music.
addressing the points that you were
Yeah, but
making
you're
the
you're
entirety
off.
of the
You're not
conversation.
listening or
And I
something.
don't have. I just came back to the room.
Right.
The
So
fuck
you
are you
need to
talking
listen because
about?
you're off. You're not on what we were on talking about Mali. We're not talking about all of Africa. We're not talking about
I'm
North
talking
Africa.
about the points that you made previously.
Right. The points that I
The
made
thing says
previously has been about the blues and
a
music.
conversation about Pan-Africanism is the
Uh,
title.
we
So
weren't talking about that though.
A Pan-Africanist comes in the space
We
and is
weren't talking
trying
about
to draw all
Pan-Africanism.
these correlations. Can I speak alone or no? We just gonna talk at the same time because I'm gonna do that to you. Please believe I'm gonna do that to you when
Okay,
it's your
so
turn
here's
to
how we're
speak
gonna
as
do it.
well. I'm
Love
definitely
I
gonna
am,
do
you're
that
gonna
to your bitch ass as well.
Love I am, you're gonna finish speaking, and then Shy, you're gonna go,
The
and
fuck?
you're
You
both of you
don't
gonna
want
get
me
a
to do
couple of
that to
minutes.
you.
Love I am, you're gonna get a couple of minutes to speak, and then Shy, you're gonna go after Love I am. Go ahead, Love I am.
Okay, and you might have to put me down after that because I don't respect what he just did, and I probably will be cutting him off. So just go ahead and put me down after I just get my time. But it says a conversation about Pan Africanism. So we've had a Pan Africanist come in the room and try to draw all these correlations back to Africa. Well, the flaw in that is that Africa is a misnomer. There's not an all encompassing identity such as African. And we see that because the Northern Africans can come here and be classified as white, and they're directly from Africa. And so obviously there are these different human populations that exist there. So it doesn't make sense to correlate our intellectual properties back to African. You can't even get away with calling, they will literally, if you try to use the term African in a conversation with Africans, they will accuse you of generalization. So how would that logic not apply here? How is he not generalizing? How is he not saying very generally that us as a unique ethnic group and our intellectual properties and our unique contributions to humanity, how is he getting away with generalizing them and being attributed to a general identity of African without having to provide specificity on how it would be that this specific group has directly influenced, because you would even have to show where the cultures overlapped, and Wani asked you earlier to address the gap, the gap in the time frame between it skipping the Caribbean and winding up here. So you haven't even addressed those gaps in time, but you're also not addressing the simple absolute truth of Africa's a misnomer. It's not a generalization, and we know that various groups have contributed various different things and cannot take um and cannot lay claim to things that other groups have contributed.
Well, that was a long 2 minutes, and I would say at the end you were close. You were getting into what was being said when you said the gap. That was the most, relevant thing that you said. The misnomer
Everything
part,
I said was relevant.
the
Who the fuck are
misnomer part,
you?
the misnomer part about African. We since I've been in this room, we've been talking about music because I heard,
the
We're
conversation
gonna move
about
on.
blues
So
and that kind of thing. And so I came in on that. And since I've been in here, it's not been about Pan
You talked about
Africanism.
African
It's not been about
spirituality as if
uh
it's an
okay, that's
all-encompassing
true.
thing, and we
Yeah.
know that the
We
African continent
but
has been delineated
right.
by gods of
That's true. I
worship
did. I
since
did.
ancient times. So that is correlated to my point. If my point
Okay.
is
No,
talking
it's
about a
not. No, it's not.
generalization and you're
Because no one's
talking African
generalizing.
spirituality, I'm saying there's no
That's not
such thing.
generalization. No, that's
There's
not
no such
generalization.
thing as African spirituality.
Right.
These
Well,
groups
there
are
is a such
delineated
thing.
by gods of worship. So
There
my
is a
point
such
was
thing.
fully relevant. If it went over your
It
head,
the
that's a
last
you
part of it
problem,
about the
but it
gap,
made perfect sense to the
the
points
gap
that
in
you
the
have made in
slavery
the
period
space.
time, that was
If
most
you just
relevant.
talked about African spirituality, I'm saying there's no
Right.
such thing, bro. What the
Okay,
fuck is
well,
that?
that's your opinion, but
The fuck is that?
I brought that up
They
to make
have
a point
gods of
that
worship that
Wani
they know
was
who they
making.
are and they know
I
which
brought that
people
up to
groups
make
worship
a
them, and
point. So,
they don't all worship the same
but
God. So there's
Mali
no
is
such
a
thing as
region,
African
right?
spirituality.
So generalization part where
So that was a
African,
Okay.
generalization.
right? So Mali is a
Don't try to
region,
devalue my
and there are
submission
ethnic groups
and
in
my
Mali.
understanding of the conversation.
Congo is a region, and there are ethnic groups in the Congo, including the Congo itself is an ethnic group. A lot of people don't know that and say that Congo is a name that came up in 1900, 1899. There was no Congo before that, which means that they don't know there was a kingdom of the Congo that started in 1500. That's when the kingdom of the Congo started, and there's a lot of people say that, and they need to get that together, right? So no, but what I'm talking about is specifically about the influence of traditional a region in West Africa, their music's influence on blues.
And up until
There's
this
no
point,
problem.
and up until this point, you hadn't specified that it was even West Africa. So I'm speaking to the generalizations that you have
Sure, I did.
been making the entirety of this
Sure, I did.
space. And
Sure, I did
so I know
specify
what
it
I
was West
don't try.
Africa.
I'm not trying to be funny.
okay.
If you're gonna have a conversation with me, fuck the shrewdness and be honest. What I'm saying makes perfect sense to the fullness of the conversation and even to the title. Don't try to devalue that because you missed what I was saying at first.
Okay, well, I was talking about West Africa and
Hey,
the
but you
Mali.
never had. Did you say that, or were you saying Africa the
Yes.
entire time?
No, I said Mali the entire time.
No, did you when you first got into space? Did you or did you not speak on African shit? You didn't specify until you started naming the countries. But even with that, you didn't even relegate your point to West Africa. This entire time, you
Love
haven't
I
made
am.
that clear.
I think that you are trying to find an argument,
I'm
and
not trying to find
it's really
nothing. I'm
weak.
trying to say that what I said made
Okay, hold
perfect
on a
sense.
second.
And so
Yeah.
just move
Okay.
around. The fuck?
Okay. Okay.
Hey, Wani,
Okay.
you're not dead yet?
Yeah.
You're still alive? Old
I,
ass
I,
bitch. Love and you're gonna grow old like her.
Shut your
Old,
dusty ass up, you ugly
old,
bitch.
and
You're ugly.
angry like
Hey,
Wani.
You're ugly. This
That's
is
how
co-host,
you're
not a
gonna
rundown
grow.
co-host.
space.
Don't know.
This is not a rundown space. Shut up. Why are you in here?
Average, did you want to say something,
You
Average?
booty
I
scratching bitch.
Yeah, I did. Exactly. Bitch ass Pan Africans want to come up in here and disrespect a black woman. And that's your people, Shy. And of course you're trolling too. When he got on the stage, what did you do?
No, I'm
Ron,
not
you
trolling.
shut the fuck up, you bitch ass nigga.
I'm not trolling.
Shut
And
up.
see, there
No,
you
no, no,
go.
you did. You
There
did.
you
I'm
go.
gonna tell
There
you
you go.
exactly how you troll. This is
No,
why you
I'm not
don't want
trolling.
me on that fucking mute button. This is why. You come up in here disrespectful. First time, Wani sent me a
How?
weird picture of herself. That's the first thing you said when you got on stage. Whole ass
Well,
nigga.
that's because I
That's
haven't heard
because
from
you a bitch
her.
ass nigga.
Right.
That's why.
So,
No.
what did I
He
say?
said I
What did
sent
I
him
Whole
said?
a.
Is it
ass.
Wani?
He
You
said I
could have
sent
kept it
you a bad
I said, is
picture.
it Wani? And she didn't say
a
anything.
terrible picture.
And I said that she sent
Yeah, a
no, she
terrible
sent
picture.
me a fucked up picture. And I
Yeah,
said that, and that
but
was
what does
it.
that
I
have to
didn't
do
Which
call
with
her
the
one
out her
was it?
debate?
name.
What does that
I
have
didn't
to do
call
with the
her out of her
debate?
name.
Stop
I
it,
didn't
bro.
call her no
Stop
bitches.
it.
I didn't do
Stop
none of
it.
that.
Stop it.
I didn't do none of that.
You didn't stick to
Which
the topic.
So
That
which
had nothing to
everybody
do with
knows
the
that.
topic. Had nothing to do with the
It
topic. You
was
were
one
trolling.
question, and
You
then
were
we went into the
trolling, you
topic.
hoe ass nigga. You was trolling.
So now
Just admit it.
you're
Man,
disrespecting
please,
me.
man.
I
Man,
haven't
look, look.
called you
anyway?
Is,
out of
are
your
your
name.
balls still there or what?
I
Are
haven't
Okay,
your
called you
balls
out
hold
of your
still
on,
there or
name,
what?
average.
hold on,
Are your balls
I have
still there
hold
or
giving
on.
what?
you respect
Are
too,
your
average.
balls
Okay.
still there
I
or
haven't called
what?
you out of your
Oh
name,
my
average.
Where the balls
God.
at?
Right. I have
Ah. Okay, I just want to
Okay,
say
go
this.
ahead, Bonnie. I just wanted to let you know that I wanted to bring some more people on stage, but
Okay,
what were you
we're
about
just
to
going to
say,
run down
Wani?
something.
Go,
We're
go.
just going to run down something real quick. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm trying to respond to average, but go ahead and talk.
Okay, so I just want to say for us, this is for Black Americans, we have documented songs, work songs from the 1600s to the 1900s. We have a slave songbook that's published in 1867. We have barbershop quartets published in 1893. Beginning, we have others, but I'm just giving you the earliest dates. We have ragtime published in 1893. We have jazz from Buddy Bolden, the first jazz man, 1895. Then we have a lot of jazz down here. We have, sorry, we have American folk published in, it's like country, it's a country folk style that was stolen. And the people that stole it and played it on Ed Sullivan were, they were sued. The woman's name is Elizabeth Cotton. She wrote a song called Freight Train in 1904 that was published. Um, the Blues 1912 is the earliest known recording. We also have, if you want to get away from folk, we have country, like traditional country, where we were one of the founders of the Grand Ole Opry in 1925. Even though we have earlier examples, we have bluegrass. And here's the thing on the bluegrass, we don't have a proof of us playing it, right? But we have uh, the people who did get credit saying that this black man taught him how to play. So that's really good because that's proof of us teaching them how to play some of these bluegrass things, and it's credited. It credited a man as a formative influence, taught Kenny Jones and Merle Travis, and Ike Everly carried on his picking style, this bluegrass picking style. We have Boogie Woogie, 1929, Big Band Jazz Swing, 1914, Scat, 1926, and other examples. I'm just giving the earliest. Rock and roll. Uh, Now, here's something about rock and roll. Most people, if we got a rock and roll historian in the room, and I said, since white people created rock and roll, tell us what rock and roll means. And they won't be able to Google it. So, rock and roll was first mentioned in 1922 by our blues artist, right? They would say, my man rocks me and rolls me all night. That's where rock and roll comes from. And then those words rolled over into the genre rock and roll. Some of the earliest rock and roll examples are in the 30s. And of course, it morphed into different things. We have the first punk rock uh, in 74 and the first grunge rock in 84. And of course, we created both of those genres, and no one would believe, but it's true. And the good thing is that we don't have to be like people that just do oral history and talk about what they did. We have proof. It's sealed in stone forever. It cannot be erased. It's copywritten, just like all those patents we have, thankfully. We have proof. We have proof that we calculated the moon landing. We have 17 astronauts. We have proof that one of our female astronauts went into space and that our male astronauts went into space. We don't have to play these games about who did what and I think that tribe did it. We did it. We wrote the Duckworth chant sound off for the military, 1944. We wrote songs for the military. Okay, we had The first doo-wop boy bands in 39. Bebop, 1942, earliest recordings. Jump blues, 44. Rhythm and blues, 48. Soul, 57. We have the recordings, so we don't have to play games with these people. Funk, okay, 64. Disco, and believe it or not, the idea of disco started in the 20s when in Harlem, spacious loft restaurant residences were hosting rent parties, and they also had this type of behavior in Philadelphia. And of course, a lot of people know about the uh, Philadelphia sound. Um, House and electric, evolution of rap, and we have a whole long list of rap going from 1927 as the first known rap that was recorded. Of course, we did things before, but we have a recording of us doing it. We have disc jockeys starting in the 1930s. Okay, we have a woman named Elizabeth, Mary Elizabeth Good, from the 40s to the 60s who used two turntables. Okay, and of course, we have Grandmaster Flowers, who in the 60s used up to three turntables. So we're not going to hear any of this DJ crap at all. We don't have to be second to anybody. And of course, we have all the first break dancers, uh, graffiti artists that are relevant to hip hop. All of these things are our inventions, even Latin jazz, which is Dizzy Gillespie's creation. He wasn't a disrespectful freak like these other people that just take your music and go run down the street with it. He actually got um, he actually got Latin jazz performers to accompany him at Carnegie Hall. It was his idea to use Latin rhythms in jazz. So instead of just saying, yeah, I'm just going to play these Latin rhythms, ha ha, I got your stuff, he was respectful enough to actually get Latin players so that they could get credit for their contribution to Latin jazz. There could be no Latin jazz without the jazz, though. So them giving a different beat to it, created a new type of music. And that really goes down. We have a tremendous effect on international music like reggae. Reggae is our creation, one of the many things that we just tinker around with and then throw it out into the wind. And we certainly did. Not only did we create the Roscoe rhythm, which accented the off beats in America, but we had a Black American man that was signed in Kingston, Jamaica, who popularized reggae from Jamaica. We had the first international hits in reggae. So that's we have a heavy influence in reggae. And just because we didn't pursue it and keep on doing it doesn't mean anything. We still created the beat and we still internationalized the music. Afrobeat was simply called African hip hop. And that's because Fela Kuti came over here and hooked up with James Brown and came out with something from Dealing with Us. He did not, according to his words, he didn't even know what being black was. He wasn't proud of being African. We showed him what blackness was, according to his quotes. He didn't know for some reason. Okay, so again, I want to run up here real quick to the top part that I was saying. One of the first songs that we wrote was called Mama's Black Baby Boy. 1893, Mama's Black Baby Boy. Not Mama's African baby boy, not Mama's Malian baby boy, not Mama's Nigerian baby boy, and not no name of a tribe. We adopted the name Mama's Black Baby Boy, and it's going to be Mama's Black Baby Boy.
And they don't say black in their homeland. So you know they were talking
That
about
was
us.
that was a long time ago. That it was Barbershop Quartet 1893.
Right. And white folks
1893.
documented it. They documented all this music, and they're the ones who stole the music. And yet you're talking about Africans appropriating the music in fucking Bush Mali, that they stole blues in Bush Mali,
Why
and
are
it's the
you
white
freaking
people
out? This
who
is our
stole the fucking music, our music.
okay.
Ethnocided. The ethnocided from
That's a
the
Pause.
white
non
folks.
sequitur. That had nothing to
The
do with what she
ethnocided
was
Pause.
from the white
saying.
folks, and y'all
That's
don't
a
talk about
non
the white folks
sequitur.
ethnociding
We're
us.
talking
You
about
talk about
This
other
is
Africans ethnociding us. This is some bullshit, y'all.
that's because
well,
they
they
had the
did.
ability to ascribe to our identity and misrepresent
They did.
us. So that's a different
They
situation.
absolutely did. The Unique Quartet was a Black American singing barbershop quartet, and the name of their song was Black Baby Boy, Mama's Black Baby Boy. Okay? That's what they wanted to call themselves. So they did not identify as these people that you're saying that they were, that they are, and they were. They did not pay. They were black. Okay, so we can go through any form of music. Like I said, high life. High life is just basically British people hearing jazz from America and telling Ghanaian people to play it in these fancy little clubs. They did not create high life or jazz or anything. Afrobeat, same thing. Came over here, heard something, wanted to modernize their beats, did the same thing. HBC, another form of music that we created was HBCU, stylized brass band music and intricate marching steps. That's our take on these things that were presented to us. So, no, we didn't create marching bands, okay? But we sure as hell make them look good, don't we? So now we can go on to another topic. I just want to say that we could argue forever about um, possibly somebody banging on some drums somewhere with some loud horns blowing, and that's blues. But we actually have our music documented, and that's what I'm happy about. We can go into another topic. Who wanted to speak next? Go ahead, Average.
No
Sorry.
problem. No. I was trying to let you get your build. I'm only gonna have a quick little cut in because I wanted to stay off of the co-host to keep my word, but the people who wanted me off of their co-host didn't keep their word. A Pan African comes up here and disrespects our sister. I wanted to be on the mic for the sake of trolls who want to come up here and be disrespectful, right? And then that good faith is broken, so here I am. Also, too, Sha, you don't troll, I don't troll. You came in trolling, I still chill. You came in trolling, talking about how somebody look and they picture and all that. You didn't stay on topic. Well, what? I was just saying how I don't like that shit from another man. The bad faith. I was just saying that I thought I remembered her voice and like stop it. You know exactly who it was. You already got told, and you came up in here to talk directly to her. That's all it was. And people was in the back channel. Can y'all make sure average ain't up? Well, I tried. But you send disrespectful bitch ass niggas up here to call women out of her name. And the first names that were called were on the Pan African side. That sounds like losing to me. Then you can't present the facts, the actual documented facts. It's feeling. It's that me Africanizing, black American shit. I'm gonna continue to do. Well, I think Malians, I think this, I think that. Okay, fine. That's what you think. All we saying is present the facts. And then you all off on the Timbuktu, literally, because she brought up the lack of documentation in Africa. Well, we have schools in the Timbuktu. Like, who gives a shit? You cannot prove that this influenced that. You cannot prove it with dates. You cannot prove it with the artifacts. There's nothing documented that can prove your argument. Nothing. You didn't present. I got an article from this Pan African online magazine. Okay, fine. You didn't present your facts. A real something, irrefutable fact, a article, something that documented the date and shows the influence. You didn't do it. You showed something that came later and then tried to play. I have music that I can play. Good for you. This is what it's going to be. Your feelings versus the documented facts, and then trying to shame your way around them. Well, white people document all y'all stuff, so it's because they trying to steal your ethnocide. He tries to make it. He tries to go off into a tangent, emotionalize the argument. Yeah, well, y'all sellouts anyway, and all of that. You know what? You're stupid. It's all of this instead of presenting what you can't present, which is the irrefutable fact, which is what you're saying, that Mali, West Africa, Africa influenced our musical genres. You cannot Prove it. You did not prove it. You came up here and went everywhere else and you failed to prove it. You lost. Anybody else come up, I'm going to stay off the mute button if you stay off the trolling. You troll, I'm going to troll back. Now I'm silent.
Did anyone want to say something?
I notice. Um, no, I guess I can start. People can start raising their hands again if they want to come up, and we can start letting new people up. If they have any questions or arguments or want to debate, come on up.
If anyone
I have
wants
a que-
to,
I have a question.
okay.
Uh,
You know,
okay, go ahead.
I'm a musician myself. I play various instruments, and from what I understand, musicians interact with other musicians or inspired by other musicians. I'm from Dominican. My family's from Dominican Republic. I've taken R&B songs on the guitar and I played them in such a way that it could sound like a bachata, but you wouldn't know. Like you really wouldn't be able to tell that I'm really playing, uh, um, I'm playing, an R&B song that I, put in staccato and put in the chorus pedal, But it's really hard to prove a lot of these things, where it came from, where it originated. Sometimes not. Sometimes very clear. But music is to celebrate and have a good time. I don't know why is it gotta be like a
I'll tell
competition.
you why. I'll tell you why. Because we have music and people keep trying to steal it, dear. It's very simple.
But let me.
But
Okay. Let me
what?
ask you a
We
question.
create rock and roll and then Elvis puts his big ass head on it. That's why, dear.
This is what it is.
Go
It's a
make
free
your own
market.
music.
Well,
Go. No, it's not. It's
white
stealing
people weren't
people's
above black
music.
music anyway. So at that time, so he didn't really steal anybody's market anyway.
Well, you
Urban, it's
said
not a
what?
free market. It's not a free market, nephew, for the simple fact that they could come over here and steal our music and play our music, but then go back to their culture and genre and play
But here's
our
the
shit. Hold
funny
on,
thing.
listen,
But
nephew. Just like you
I'm
Dominican,
not done
listen.
yet.
But no, but I'm contributing to what you're saying. Just like you're Dominican. You could come over here to the
Right.
black side and listen to hip hop, R&B, blues, rhythm, and all that. But yet we can't go over there to your side and partake in reggaeton. You know, if we try to partake in
Why
reggaeton,
not?
if
Go
we try
ahead.
to partake in reggaeton, then we get
R.
all
Kelly
these,
killed
oh, we're
reggaeton.
stealing this
R.
and we're
Kelly
stealing
killed it.
that and we're culture vultures. So this is the issue that we have, and we all know what reggaeton is. Reggaeton comes from hip hop. Y'all just reversed it to Latin hip hop. Y'all reversed it to the Latin side. You know what I'm saying? So this is what
Uh,
we're dealing with right now because we don't get any recognition, and not only that,
well,
we don't get any appreciation from you guys because where else reggaeton got from? I wasn't singing reggaeton 20 years ago. I take that back 30 years ago.
all
You
right. Let
know,
me. I don't even listen to reggaeton, but okay. But listen, as I was saying, my main thing is this. Look, I'm gonna give an example, right? Dominican Republic is known for having very good baseball players, right? I'm not a good baseball
No.
player. I'm not good.
that's
So
stereotyping,
what does
bro.
it
You
serve
stereotyping
me?
your own
Let me
self
say
right there,
something.
though. You're
Let me
stereotyping
finish,
your
bro. Let
own
me finish.
people, though.
But let me finish. Let me finish. No, I'm saying something important. I'm saying that although Dominicans are known for being good baseball players, and we do have good baseball players, and we play a lot. I don't know how to play like that. So why are you guys taking credit for other people's songs and creations? You don't know what a treble clef
You
is.
don't
You
know
don't
your
know what a bass
history,
clef is.
but you don't know your
Why
history.
would you even try to fight for something? You didn't make the music.
Yes, we
There's
did.
people who are
That's why
white who
we
know how to
fight
play
for
all
it.
those songs on the
No,
guitar and the
but you don't know
piano. You
your
don't.
history, bro. You don't know your
I'm
history
telling
because
you.
they every beginning, every
I'm sorry.
something that has
He's
their beginning.
imagining that he's coming from a group that innovated things.
No,
That's
Right.
he's trying to
You're
that's
separate
you're
himself is what
See,
he's trying to
he's
do. He's
imagining
trying to separate
having
uh,
himself.
contributed over
see,
this
13
is coming
genres of
from
music
somebody
to humanity.
who's
This is weird.
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
just say I'm gonna ask you.
So urban
Yes.
genius, you're not. But
They always say that. That's the first thing they attack.
but
Listen to the woman,
Because
young
you
man.
ain't got
Don't
no
be
name there,
disrespectful.
bro.
Listen to the lady. Don't
Uh,
disrespectful, bro.
I didn't take
You
it at all.
are coming from a place of
Mhm.
taking, so I don't expect you to understand it. If you created a music genre out of your soul, out of your blood, sweat, and tears, and you're singing about being lynched on a fucking tree, and somebody comes along and tries to say, "Oh yeah, we had a bad day over in Africa. We made that music too." That is an insult to my ancestors' soul. It goes very deep, but it doesn't matter to people like you because you just leech. You just look
But
for
at least
things to
we have
leech.
our own
I
genre.
saw,
We have a
I saw,
salsa
I
called
saw.
No Le
I
Pega La
doubt that you
Negra
really do.
that talks about
You
a
have
black woman because we
irrelevant
talk about
forms
slave
of music.
masters. You know,
Stop.
we
You
have
have
regular songs
irrelevant
too. We don't just
forms
talk
of,
about that. But
You say
you
slave
have
master,
irrelevant.
slave master.
You know
yeah,
what?
it's a
You
famous
guys
salsa.
like
It's
the
called No Le
slave
Pega La
masters.
Negra
Okay.
from Joe
So
Arroyo.
don't you call yourself Spanish?
I'm Dominican. I don't want to get into identity
Yeah.
politics. Let's stick to the
Do
topic.
you?
Let's not move the
No,
goalposts.
It's
no,
about
we
Pan
gonna get on
Africanism.
you. Do you call yourself Spanish?
No. I'm just Dominican.
What
Okay.
language do you speak?
Do do Latino
I
people
speak
call
a
themselves
broken
Spanish?
Creole Spanish.
You speak a
Do
broken
I'm just
Creole.
asking, have you ever heard of, let's ask the room, Twizzler, Twizzle,
I'm listening. I'm listening.
have you ever heard a Latino woman referred to as Spanish?
Yes.
She's
Always.
Spanish.
Spanish,
Yeah, yeah. People
Latino,
refer to
all
us as
that.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So now you're complaining about
We
slave
don't speak
owners.
English. We speak Spanish, so we'll say some more Latino.
But am I
We don't speak
English,
English,
sir?
But
though.
what were
We
you
don't use
What
speaking
am
that.
I
before the Spanish
speaking?
conquistadors came to you? What was your language before then? What was your language before the conquistadors
I don't
came?
know. I mix with my
They
people.
like the conquistadors.
That's what I'm saying.
See?
Because
I don't know.
I
See?
know a bunch of
See?
I'm
Dominicans.
not saying I
See?
Hey,
like it or
Urban,
hate
How
check
it.
you
this out.
gonna
Urban,
how you gonna
I
complain
know a bunch
about
Yeah.
of
slave
Dominicans, and I know
owners?
baseball players. I met Manny Ramirez. I met David Ortiz. I know Fernando Orba. I know Miguel Tejada. I know a lot of the Dominicans, bro, and they consider themselves
Right.
Spanish. They consider themselves Spanish, and they don't consider themselves black, and that's 100%. And these are multimillionaire, famous baseball players who's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
So you
agree. Well,
identify
since
with the slave owner and you singing about, why would you sing about him doing something wrong to you when you want to be
it
him?
was just a song, that was the
Yeah,
subject of the
well,
song.
guess what? I don't sing about white boys being my daddy, and I don't sing about, and I don't call myself English. It's not called English Harlem, it's called Harlem. But your little area is called what? Spanish Harlem.
Okay. So is that
Spanish.
something wrong with
You
that? I'm confused.
identify with Spanish people. You're not us. We don't identify with
I
English
didn't never
people.
say that either, though.
There's no
I'm
difference
just talking
between you
about
and
music.
me. You have an admixture of Spanish. I have an admixture of English. There's no difference
That's good.
between you and us.
I didn't say there
Do you,
wasn't, or there
So
was. I didn't say anything.
there's a big difference in the way you identify, in the leechiness
But
of your
have you asked me what
statements.
I identify as?
You just
Well,
said
I'm telling
Dominican,
you
bro.
that you have a
Yeah,
leeching.
identify as my
That's
nationality.
good.
What's wrong with
And
That's
she
that?
asked you,
good.
was you
And,
Spanish
and
as
I and
well?
I love it. And I
I
love that.
don't. I
do
don't
you
personally believe
realize?
that. I think
Do
other
you
people
realize?
use that to refer to us in general, like
Urban, do you
Latinos.
realize that your vantage point requires you to imagine you coming from an ethnic group that created 13 genres of music that never existed on the planet before you created it? Your vantage point requires that. You don't have, that's not,
I'm sorry. You
that's
got to explain
okay.
that
So the
to me
reason
in
why,
English.
I'm just asking you a question. Do you realize that your vantage, the reason why you only had, first of all, we don't know Dominicans for anything, not even baseball. So that you were
Bachata,
informing,
merengue,
so
Cardi
you were
B,
informing
I
us.
thought the Puerto
Sammy
You were
Ricans did that.
informing.
Sosa,
I
I
thought
just
the
want to
Puerto
say
Ricans
this.
did that.
Can I just say this?
Dominican Lou
I
from
just want to
San
say this really quickly. So you were informing us on that because we
Diego,
don't know.
Barbershop.
You came into a room assuming that we're hearing Dominicans are good at baseball or have visibly observed it. And neither one of those things are true. So, with that being said, it's fine that you occupy that position. No pushback there. Those are your people. What I'm saying is that your entire perspective, your vantage point, is coming from you having to imagine creating 13 genres of music instead of You're engaging with a group of
But
people.
well,
You're
what 13
engaging. What
genres of
I'm
music?
listen, please, Urban. It sounds
Okay.
like you're defensive for no reason, right? It's no
No, I just
reason
don't know
here.
what you're talking about,
What did
honestly.
I say that you'd have to defend yourself against? You said you're good at
I
baseball. No
just
one's
don't know what you're
disputing that.
talking about.
What
What
I'm
13
saying is that
genres?
you're in a room with Black Americans who do come from an ethnic group that has contributed
Oh,
13 genres of music, over 13 genres of music that never existed anywhere on the planet. So instead of telling us how you think that would be, why don't you just ask us how that actually is? To know that you have contributions to humanity that others are trying to claim as their own, and when you literally have never had any acknowledgement of those as your own contributions, because that's what we're talking about, and you're giving a perspective from a group that's not your lived reality.
so my live reality is that I don't know about 13
No,
genres
your
that
live
Okay,
have
reality
so
is
can
that
we
you
created,
don't
but
start?
you
come
don't get
from,
credit for it.
what do we know
Oh, whoa, whoa,
Dominicans
whoa, whoa.
for? That's what I'm saying. So
Nothing.
I don't know. I
if
don't
you
know.
had things to
Rappers.
claim as your own, I think that you would care a little bit more about
Right.
ensuring that they
Right.
can remain
I mean, we got
yours and not
bachata, we got
someone
merengue, we
else's.
got a lot of stuff. You
Can
know.
you stop for a
We, we,
second,
we,
Urban?
Urban.
Okay.
yeah.
So when you said that you had these baseball players, here we go again. The only reason you have baseball players here, like, why don't you have them blowing up where you're from? You got to come over here
Oh,
and
play
hang
for
out.
teams over there,
You
very
have to
good over
come
there.
out.
They work
Yeah,
a lot of
okay.
money.
You got to come over here and play with our Black
A lot of
American
American
men.
Urban, listen to
genres
the
over there.
woman. Quit being disrespectful. Listen to the woman, or you'll get dropped out the
Stop
room.
You don't know.
talking. You would have to do that. Nobody was paying you any attention. The doorway opened up when a lot of Black American men stopped wanting to play baseball as much and went on and did other sports. Okay, that opened the door for cheap labor, you and your people. You drug up here with Caribbeans and everybody else, South Americans and Caribbeans. And guess what? The sport is trash. It's tanked. There's no more legends popping off. There's no more record breaking performances. Nobody's even looking. You just sit there on the bench. And everybody feels like this is not baseball. This is just a bunch of people we don't even know your name. Okay, we have sports legends. Every time we're in a sport,
Right? Take it to
it
account.
becomes legendary. You are
Giving
a
credit.
secondary factor. Okay,
You
and
didn't come.
you're only able to do it because we did it first. And you came up here second and bored everybody to death.
Not only that,
And
tethered,
again,
tethered on being black. Tethered on being black, and
right,
that's how they brought y'all up because they saw what the black baseball players are doing, so they brought y'all up because they was
right.
cheap. And if you don't believe me, look what that baseball player from the New York Mets, Jose Reyes. Look on how they did him, and they exposed it. You know, they exposed him for being weak, and he was being able to be taken advantage of and have all his money stolen, all because he didn't want to go back to the Dominican Republic where it was poor and he was living in motherfucking a dirt wood floors. You know what I'm saying? It's fact. It's
That's sad.
proven.
You happy about that?
Can I
I'm
add
confused.
something
You
to
guys
this?
sound very toxic.
We
Um,
have these music genres and we have every right
I'm
to
just saying,
gatekeep
listen,
them.
music is a
Why
beautiful
are
thing
you
for everybody.
talking? When I'm talking, I don't care if you think
You're
music
talking a
is
lot. I
beautiful.
haven't got to talk. You're
Well,
talking
that's
through me.
right. I have been
All right, I
talking a
want to know
lot.
when you're.
Music is a beautiful thing, and you can share it from a safe distance because you're not capable of enjoying it without trying to steal it. That's all we're saying.
What
White
am I
people could have been,
supposed?
not you, white people
Uh,
could have enjoyed rock and roll and said, hey, look at that. Hey, it's not our fault black people are playing this music good, but instead they did the other route, which is try to make it white, just like you want to take hip hop and make it Latin hip hop.
I didn't
You
never
don't
try to.
have
I
you
don't
don't
even like.
have
I
you
like
don't
salsa.
have hip hop, but you
I'm a
guys have Latin
percussionist
hip hop.
and a guitarist.
You guys don't have our forms of music, so you Latinize it and try to change it so that it's palatable to your group, but you don't make your own stuff and just go
What's
on with it. And when you
music?
do make your own stuff, nobody cares. That's the bottom line. You don't get any attention. Nobody is coming from all around to check it out. Sure, you have
But
forms
from
of
the
music,
what
but
I'm trying
nobody's coming from
to
all over the
the
world to
Spanish
hear
music is not
you.
it's not Spanish.
Daddy
Nobody is
Yankee, kick
coming
back.
from
Daddy
around the
Yankee,
world
listen
to
to the
hear you.
woman. Let her talk. Daddy Yankee, goddamn.
That's a compliment, man.
People are not
You find
coming
me
from all
attractive,
over the
brother? Like,
world.
what you trying to say?
And
Now
chill
you
out.
Sound,
getting on some
sound
gay
so
shit.
no
Now I'm
diddy.
finna go the fuck off now.
No
Don't
diddy,
play
bro.
with
No
me,
diddy.
nigga. Don't play with me.
Ew.
I'm a
What
real
is,
nigga, dude. Don't
bro?
play with me, you fake ass
No, I can
wannabe.
see,
Hella
bro.
fake,
These are
dude.
Yeah.
Oh my
actual
gosh, I
men.
didn't know
You're
the
talking to
Dominican
real
men were
men.
this way too. That y'all are a weird group. I swear to God. I'm
Yeah,
Yeah,
glad
y'all
we
we
trying
don't
are.
so hard
interact
to
with
make
them
something
on a
stick to me.
regular
I didn't even disrespect
basis.
nobody, yo. No,
We
listen,
don't
look, look, look.
interact with you on a
I'm gonna
regular
just leave.
basis.
Look,
So
listen. I don't want.
this is
Don't
oh,
announce you're leaving. Just get the fuck out. Put your hand back up so you can be in order, so I can make sure I get to you in order. Yeah, Urban. If you want to leave, nobody asked you for your presence. You're not an honored guest or nothing like that. Just leave, okay? I wasn't trying to disrespect you, or really nobody was. I didn't. I could have sworn I heard you drop the N bomb. Maybe it was just in passing and trying to reference it, but say N word next time. Number one, yeah, and people were kind of hostile about their culture because their people created it. So, we have a right to be. And somebody saying, "Oh, but you can't, you don't know what a treble clef is." I mean, I do, but um, you know, I can make a taco and a burrito, but guess what? Guess what belongs to somebody's specific culture, too. I can't say that my people created it or whatever. Yeah, I can make it and I can eat it, consume it, and all of that, but can't sit up here and say, "Yeah, black people created tacos and burritos." No, we didn't. I respect people's cultures. You know what I'm saying? Everybody should.
I agree with that. It is unfortunate that a lot of times black people got the short end of the stick of making money from genres that they created. I would agree with that, but at the end of the day, music is for everyone to enjoy. At least that was accomplished. That's what I was trying to
Nobody
say.
has a problem with that. Enjoying
Yeah,
the music.
yeah. But I didn't get to talk. I didn't get to talk, brother. To be honest, but also it's just a lot of people look at accomplishments that people from their own race or nationality has made, and this is not something that you've really done. It's something that's, alhamdulillah, has been contributed from your culture, but it's not
Did
something
he just
like
say alhamdulillah?
that has to be. It doesn't
Right?
have to be something
The content
toxic. You know
in
what
the
I mean?
statement.
It doesn't have to be something like toxic, like that you hold it against another
No, it's
person.
not
Like if you
holding
want to
it
learn to
against you.
dance
You're
salsa,
You're
gaslighting.
trying
I'm
to
not gonna say
steal
to a dance.
something, we're
Hey,
going to hold it
You're
against you.
gaslighting.
You try to steal us. You
but
guys
not
tried to
what you
say that
say.
you Latinos tried to join Caribbeans in saying they created hip hop. They were nowhere around. Oh, then we created the dance. You were nowhere around. Well, then we spray painted the graffiti. You were nowhere around. Well, we were the DJs. You were nowhere around. You weren't before
And
us.
don't
I don't
have
know
nothing
what's
like
wrong
that
with
in their
you.
homeland. Don't have no graffiti, don't have no breakdancing or no rapping in their homeland. But want to come over here and say they created it. Come on, man. Really? I come from a legacy of music. My dad was a singer. My dad was in the group The Ballads. My dad was in the movie, a black exploitation film, The Mac. I have receipts and I am evidence, so I have something to stand on. So I can speak on the culture and I can speak on music. Motherfucker, can you?
And more than that,
On what black music? No, I don't.
I don't think you understand
My
culture
family
Let's go to
is
the
by the
musicians
way.
hands.
too.
Let's go to the hands.
My family is musicians as well. I'm not in music.
True, true.
I'm a musician.
Here's the thing. What is his name? Urban Genius. Here's the thing I think you're missing. I don't think you really have an understanding of culture and having pride in your culture. And here's why I say that. This is why. Um,
Mhm.
no, I didn't. I'm not Jimi Hendrix, right? And I didn't play the guitar as well as
Right.
he did, and I can't play the guitar as well as him. He's at the pinnacle. Um, but there are also people.
I say
There's
Prince was
all
good too, though. You sleep
nah,
on
nah.
Prince.
Jimi Hendrix, when it comes to playing that guitar, he's aggressive.
He did
Listen
crazy
to the
stuff, but
point.
His rap.
Prince
Listen.
is quite
That's neither here nor there. Prince stands on Jimi Hendrix's shoulders, and he will tell you that when it comes to playing that guitar, he
I
inspired him.
disagree,
But don't
man.
worry about that. Don't worry about that. You wouldn't know. You don't even understand being proud of your culture. I have played the guitar, but ain't good at it, right? But guess what? I understand my music. My father played the guitar. My father passed that on. My father still plays the guitar. And my father passes on a lot of cultural traditions in playing the guitar when it comes to different genres of music, and what he tells to me, explains not just the time and the stories or whatever, but us enjoying playing the guitar together, him teaching me things with how to play it, when and why, the feeling of it, all of that. And also it's how we spend time together, whether it be on the phone. I ain't played with him in person since
Is
I was,
anyone talking?
yeah, me. um but yeah, he can't hear me. You gotta come. I'll drop him down. Y'all drop him down. Tell him that I'm speaking. But anyways, I say that to say this.
Yeah.
That's a product to you. That's just a product for you to consume. That's all that is. Our culture is a product for people to consume. It's not connected to joyous moments, family functions, how a father and a son share their culture, how my father teaches me about music or taught me about music, or my mom playing oldies and tell me about how when she was this age and what the music meant during that time or whatever. Just that alone. Now you can do that. Your people can do that. But even the lingo in the song, right? The terminologies, that don't come from your culture.
Well,
He
Don't.
wouldn't
I want
understand it. Hey,
I went to
average.
the
He
same
wouldn't
people with
understand it.
Spanish
Average.
music.
The
He,
I
simple
don't
fact.
understand what
I'm
he's
trying
saying.
to get his. He's an urban genius. I'm
Yeah,
trying
he
to get
wouldn't
him to.
understand the average because he don't understand.
No, but
He
I'm
don't,
telling
he
you,
he
I
talking
went to
about
all of
Prince
that super
and he
with
talking
Latin
about
music.
Lenny
I didn't
Kravitz,
go to
but
it.
he don't know nothing about BB King. He don't know nothing
Right.
about Blues Boy King, the greatest guitar out, to where he could close his eyes and play the
I don't
guitar
know
better
about
than
BB King. I
anybody
don't know about
Okay,
Or
Blues
because
Boy
you
Robert
don't
King.
know
That's his
Johnson.
shit
favorite
about
Or
it.
just call
You
Robert
it
know,
Johnson.
Latin music. So he wants to. He's calling it Latin music because he wants it to remain attributed to
that's what
his
he wants to
people, and
identify
in that
as.
same
Yeah,
sense,
No,
we
I'm talking
want
about just the Latin music
Latin
was
music is
clearly
an
known as Latin
extension
music.
of Latin culture. What we are saying is
Right,
we
right.
are the originators of these musical art forms, and we want them to
Right.
remain associated with our ethnic group.
That's not very profitable,
Okay,
but
so that
okay, I can understand
and
that.
how
Wow.
would you know?
Tether
but if you
mindset.
you
Because
weak
nobody,
minded if
how
you're
would you
thinking about
know that
Hey, yo,
money.
let's
nobody
get to the
embraces Latin
hands, yo.
music
The
except for Latin
hands.
Tether
people?
mindset.
What do you mean? You
Everyone
don't have
listens
a.
to Latin music,
Can we move
salsa
on?
in
Can we
Japan.
move
Okay,
Nobody
on?
gets mad because of
I
that.
gotta start. I gotta do.
Why you guys get mad? Because people like your music. That's good.
I just
Yeah,
wanted
good.
to
Wait, wait,
move
wait,
on
wait.
from him.
You're gaslighting, and I think the biggest problem is you talk while you should be listening because you don't know about our culture, and you don't even know how to be proud of your own culture. You don't. That's why you're like in somebody else's culture, in somebody else's business, in somebody else's room, speaking about their culture. Like that's pretty problematic. Somebody is talking, and you're saying, "But you're mad because people like your culture." No, enjoy the hell out of my culture. Enjoy the fuck out of it. I want you to. I want you to. But here's the problem: when you think of it as a product and you want to bastardize it and signal boost certain parts of it, make fun of it, and you don't really love it because it's not of your people, then I'm gonna check that. I'm gonna say that's bullshit. This is my people, and not only that, but the burden falls on those who birthed that culture, whose people birthed that culture, to be the gatekeepers, to make sure that to be the quality checkers, to make sure that the traditions are upheld. That falls on us, and so that's what we're doing. It's a beautiful burden to have because we have a wonderful culture everybody wants to steal from. Now you gaslighting and trying to insert your feelings, and then even saying, "Oh, I'll just leave." You can go ahead and leave, but that just means you got that main character shit going on, and you think you more important. You overestimate your importance. That's fine. But yeah, bro, this is ours, and we're the ones who get to decide what to do with it and decide what it should be. And we're the ones who are also going to decide when people need to like mind their own business too, when concerning our culture, and show respect. When you disrespect it, you don't get to decide that because it's not your culture. And when people disrespect it, we check them. That's the burden. Now I think China, is it China that's next? China, Cash Games, and Unc.
Hey y'all. So I just wanted to say this the tone of, the panties earlier, just disrespectful, condescending, just disappointing to me to hear, talking over the women. Um, and for me, just hearing them kind of make excuses about having sources about things. Like we're supposed to lower our standards. Why does Africa get away with not having records? Like how is it a quote unquote white European thing to have records? I thought history in general was it has to be recorded in some way. It doesn't mean recording it like a white person. It means recording it in any way that you record things, whatever medium that is, right? Whatever their tradition is, if they even have a tradition. But do they even have a record of recording anything at all? So I just think that's just kind of lowbrow to say, oh, well, that's a white thing to do. That's just making excuses. Um, and also just, um, like Wani kept bringing up, well, how does fried chicken and cornbread and all that travel from the Caribbean to here? No answer. Oh, I'm gonna answer it, but then I'm gonna bring up something. I feel like they have specific things that they know about that they just will go on a tangent that has nothing to do with what the question is at hand, right? And just even what this last person was talking about, there is this expectation that we're supposed to just give our culture freely, not have any ownership, when they would never do the same. They would never do the same, but we're expected to do that, and he doesn't understand that we've had things stolen. We've had people not try to give us credit. So that's why that's why we feel the way we do, right? And it's just funny that even with the records that we do have, it's still invalidated. It's still not enough. They're allowed to not have any records at all. We have the records, and it's still invalidated. That's how deep the delusion goes. And my final point is that, like, Wani, keep going. I love when you go on tangents because I learn. I'm taking notes. I love when you go off and just keep going, keep talking. So anybody who's saying that is they don't want to learn. They don't want to know. They just want to stay in their own bubble, and they don't want to expand their mind. So I'm gonna land on that. Thank you.
Appreciate that, sis. Thank you for putting that into perspective too. The two different standards that was needed very much so. It's frustrating. Cash, what's up, man?
Yeah, peace to the room. I came here to speak to my own people about the title, first and foremost. So thank y'all for having this conversation. It sounds like y'all were talking about music when I came in the room. And as was mentioned earlier, Elvis pretty much stole a black woman's song, a song that was talking about black men. He was singing a woman's song saying you ain't nothing but a hound dog. Make that make sense. That's a form of colonization, tell you the truth. And I mean, we've seen so many movies about Little Richard that I think it would be belaboring in this room. But I did want to make a point about instruments and how they're played being cultural as well. Specifically, Jimi Hendrix was mentioned. I'm left-handed myself, and he was an innovator who used to turn the right-handed guitar upside down to play it, which created unique new songs before he would restring his guitars and then got gifted left-handed ones by famous people. Some of them he never even played. Um, I also used to do high jump in high school, and it wasn't until the 1970s, for the longest time, all human beings were jumping over that pole the same way until a random dude invented a certain way to go over it. His name was Fallsbury, and now everyone does the Fallsbury flop. There are innovations that lead to evolutions of art forms. Not that I have to belabor that point with this room. Stealing intellectual property is a crime, and music is being considered more and more as intellectual property, especially Black American music, especially with us gatekeeping it. So there's not going to be no more stealing intellectual property. As far as Pan Africanism, and then I'm gonna swing to the Caribbean on the end. As far as Pan Africanism, I've been to the continent, not as many as Wani for sure. There's 54 nations on the continent. I've been to three of them though, to Morocco, to Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And I brought up Kwanzaa in every one of those countries, and not a single person there heard of it. Not a single person that heard of it. So I don't know how Pan Africanism is supposed to work if we don't even have the same understandings of a holiday that's supposed to be shared amongst us. I've been let Kwanzaa go. One more thing is, I'm not going to say all the continent, but there was a specific tribe that engaged in slavery from the West Coast that was forced to stop human sacrifice by Europeans. By Europeans. Europeans forced this African tribe to stop committing human sacrifice. Sometimes they would sacrifice enslaved folks, six of them as they passed. So I'm just saying that not all the cultures have traditions that I'm interested in upholding. Should I find out I'm half whatever? Last point is about baseball from America, right? um, Sammy Sosa and his bleach skinned ass. Nah, let me say this. Anybody that's let me say this. He white now. Anybody that mentions that that they have good baseball players from their island. That's a former Spanish colony. All we would need to do for them to understand our issue with this conversation of people saying hip hop is really from the continent, we tell them that those baseball players ain't from the Dominican Republic. They're from Spain. It's the Spanish history in them that's allowed them to be such good baseball players. It's them being from Spain. You see how that makes no sense? So don't say that we from
And
Africa and that's why
it
our music's like that.
does.
Not speaking to
Hip hop
Urbano.
was created by
Not speaking to
African
Urbano.
Americans.
And look, a Dominican DJ in America might not play the song Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, because he can't sing along. We need our people playing our music for our parties in our country. Thank you.
We'll get rid of all the Dominican DJs, bro.
Okay, okay, okay. Nobody talking to you, Papa. All right? Does that make more sense? Shut the fuck up. You're next. Then you can go, Urban. Put your hands up.
Nah, I'm good. I'll pass. I ain't gonna take no disrespect. It's all good.
What's good?
I can't even
You
defend
can't take no education is what your hard headed ass can't take.
it, man. You can keep with the
Yeah, it's
superiority
your turn,
complex.
Yeah, I was just waiting on the space, bro. That's all. Appreciate it, family. Good evening to everybody. Almost good night. I just want to talk on the baseball thing, right, for a second. I remember growing up. I'm old enough to remember every sport in America was always a black and white sport, right? So even baseball was didn't want blacks at one time. Blacks got in, and whenever you let us in something, we do what? We take it the fuck over, right? So at the end of the day, that was the problem with white owned good old boy baseball. Black faces were becoming the dominant face to baseball. They're good at the national pastime in America, right? So this is where the Dominicans and Spanish players came into play. Spanish players wasn't as much of a problem except for the dark skins, right? So the dark skinned players could be bought for less money, the Dominicans, right? So they didn't have to pay the black players who was going to become the face of the program, the high dollars, because were beginning to make more money than the white players were making. So it was a real problem. So what white guys decided they could do, they can knock two birds out with one stone. They could save money and they could put the black, everybody was in that flat blackness shit, so they could fulfill the look of the black player without necessarily having the American black player, right? So that's why the Dominicans are so strong, because they fit that identifier in America. They are considered to be black when they get here, right? So they fulfilled the quota of having black players, but not necessarily American black players. So they're actually fighting that right now and trying to get more American black players in it, because the Dominicans and none of them people get a respect to black players for opening the doors for them to be allowed to come in. They just come in and think it's their shit now, right? So at the end of the day, that's how the cosplayers do. But that's how that takeover came, because black players were actually becoming the dominant face in America's apple pie pastime, right? So I just wanted to add that to it, and that's how the Dominicans got into this game and think that they're the shit now, right? So, but they're not. I land.
Thank you, Unc.
Yo, average, you can't call
Another
him Poppy.
thing,
That's like calling him the N word or something. He ran off the word Poppy, bro.
Yeah, but yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
thank you. One thing I wanted to say on what Unc was saying. Another thing about sports is that we build up the excitement. There's a huge excitement, and I know I'm older than dirt, so I know. And my father would tell me about some of the first boxing matches and how exciting it was for a person from a background of being enslaved to fight a white man. That was drawing a crowd, just like a man fighting a kangaroo. It's like, whoa, what is going to happen? This person must hate your guts, must be filled with rage, must want to tear your head off. We got to go see that. We got to go see this. You see what how much the excitement is there? Everybody wants to see this. The white people want to see if they're going to get their heads torn off. The black people want to see if the guy is going to crumble or break or what's going to happen. Is he going to be killed after he beats this guy? This is exciting. Okay? We created sports empires because it's exciting. Everyone wants to see black American lineage and white. They don't want to see brown and white. That is boring. That's nothing. That's why we built those sports empires on the excitement of all of those sports. We were over there playing in the Negro Leagues, minding our own business. We even had a white guy on the Negro Leagues and a woman. We
Hmm.
were doing
You're
fine.
right,
They came over looking at
Sister Wani.
us.
Right. It was.
They came over looking at us. What y'all over there? Wait a minute, that ball got cracked out of the park. What kind of gymnastics are you people doing over here? Come and bring it over here. Once one person had a magical Negro on the team, guess what? Oh, instant winner. We got to get us a magical Negro. Oh, well, we can't let them have magical Negroes. We got to get two magical Negroes on our team. This is how we populated those
Absolutely.
sports. Now,
Hey, Sister Wani,
I just
right.
want to say
It was a
this.
it was a black lady. She was a pitcher in the Negro League. She was known to throw a
Mhm.
no-hitter. She'd throw a no-hitter in time to go home and cook dinner for her kids. She wasn't no joke. Yeah.
Damn.
She would throw a no-hitter. She would throw a no-hitter and have time she would throw a no-hitter and have enough time to go home and cook dinner for the kids. She wasn't no joke. A black woman. I forgot her name, but she was in the Negro League.
Yeah, we were in the Negro Leagues. Well, we were over there doing our thing. And the same thing happened with we had small basketball teams. We had the Harlem Globetrotters. We had our own teams, our own venues, and we were very acrobatic. We were very interesting. So, of course, people want us to be on the team. Now, here's the catch. The European thought all we have to do is go dig up these Negroes from anywhere. We'll just slap them on these soccer teams. We'll slap them over here. We'll put them in Europe. It doesn't work out like that, does it? They don't have sports legends riding all over the place. We're the legends. We are the legends, and there's a special reason for that. It's not just enough to be brown or to be of African descent. It's not enough. There's something special about our lineage that makes us break every barrier in over 50 sports and competitions. Participating in the Olympics before other groups ever saw the Olympics, 50 years before them. And it's not just sports, it's music, it's sports, it's calculating the moon landing, it's making inventions for NASA, it's having 50,000 inventions between slavery and the 1940s on par with Germans who were not enslaved, who were nurtured, who were given laboratories, and we have inventions as powerful or more powerful than theirs involved in the light bulb and the telephone. Those are the two most important inventions of that time. So we are special. And I'm not going to let any group on the planet, I don't care if they're from Africa, I don't care if they're from Europe, they're not going to take away our legacy ever. Go ahead, Cash.
I was gonna say I don't watch baseball, but I would have for sure watched the Negro Leagues. But in my understanding, Barry Bonds overtook Babe Ruth as the best baseball player of all time because of his 700 home runs or something. I remember Kanye had a song, and here's another hit, Barry Bonds. Right? Anybody can speak on that? 'Cause he's the best player of all time right
Let
now,
me
right?
tell
Ain't
you right
nobody on.
now. It's
Willie Mays too.
yeah, it's a black player from the Negro League. His name was Josh Gibson. He was
962.
known, yeah, he was known to hit 82 home runs in a season. So everybody know the major league, and this is something about the Negro League. The Negro League was established because they didn't want black players in nothing. We couldn't get in Major League Baseball. We couldn't get in the NFL or the NBA. So we created our own shit back then. And segregation was so bad to where we was able to get in our own shit. And the cold part about it, we were so good in the Negro League. We outshined motherfuckers in the Major League Baseball. We outshined the MLB. That's how come that's how come they had the integration because people was so excited and people were so entertained and they were so amused watching these black athletes with the agility like cats and ninjas go out there and do shit that they never even seen, to where them white people said, fuck these boring ass, stiff ass white boys who could barely run. I'm finna go watch these athletic ass niggas that's jumping 6 feet in the air, running 4.3s and doing shit and throwing 95-mile fastballs. That's what they wanted to go see. You know what I'm saying? And them people start seeing them, scouts start going. They was like, man, we got to get these niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because people start paying more attention to them because the game was more exciting. We made it more exciting. They had movies about when the Negro League, when they went to go play, they would have marching bands. They would have marching bands to where they'd be marching to the stadium and it'd be like a Mardi Gras. It'd be a party. You'd have cheerleaders and everything. Then they'd have the game. When the game was over with, they had a cheerleading and marching band back to wherever establishment to where they go and party, because that's how we did it. You know, it ain't what we do, is how we did it. That's why they had to interrupt the Negro League, and that's when you got Jackie Robinson. You know, they say Jackie Robinson was the integrator. No, Jackie Robinson was the fucking nail in the coffin to the Negro League, because they had to do that to get the Negroes into. They could say, well, we making a step up, we making advancements, you know, basically like the civil rights movement, just so they can do that. And when they did that, that's what killed Major League Baseball. You know, but something, I mean, that's what killed the Negro League. That's what killed the Black Baseball League. You know what I'm
The
saying?
Negro
Yes,
Leagues. Yep.
the Black League, because one thing for sure, two things for certain, those leagues, those records are still there. I hear in Oakland we had a black
Oh
baseball
yeah.
team called the Oakland Larks, and their records are still there. They have a
Yep.
black man who had a bigger record, a bigger hit streak than Joe DiMaggio. What's Joe DiMaggio? 52 hits. 52, what is it? 52 hits in the season,
I have
52
no
hits back to
idea.
back,
I'm not
something
even
like
gonna
that.
lie to
I think it
you.
was like 56, 56
Yeah,
games.
something like that. There was a black man who had 63. A black man out here in Oakland had 63 on the Negro League. So our records outshine there. That's why they had to kill it, because the Negro League was way bigger than Major League Baseball. And right now to this day, Major League Baseball ain't shit. Even Mark McGwire even said, well, yeah, I want to hit the Josh Gibson record, the 82 home runs in a season. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, you know what I mean? They had to get rid of us because we had the game so exciting. Whatever we do, we make it good. You know, I grew up off Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson was my man. Ricky, you couldn't tell me shit about Ricky Henderson. He was my Michael Jordan at the time. You know what I'm saying? And now you don't have nothing like that. We had Ricky Henderson. We
Yes.
had,
That's what we
man,
need.
come on. We don't have nothing like that no more in
That's what
baseball.
they
That's
said.
why
The
baseball
Dodgers
is
said
dead.
we have to recruit. They said we have to recruit Black Americans. We have to come up with programs to recruit Black Americans because these people are duller than dishwater and they don't have the talent.
Hmm.
It
I'll
can.
give you
Oh, okay.
another example. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I'll give you another example. They, out in the West, they had cattlemen and they had cowboys.
Hmm.
Um, and guess who were the
The black
cowboys?
man.
Yeah, now everybody wants to be a cowboy and nobody wants to be a
The only thing you hear
cattleman
about
because we
cattlemen is
made
steak
it
sauce. The only thing you hear
exciting.
about cattlemen is steak sauce and barbecue sauce right now. That's it. Cowboy, cowboys,
Right.
American shit. And if you look at anime want to be cowboys. Russians want to be cowboys. European want to be cowboys because that's the American culture, and we made that shit famous. Them white boys. One thing about a white boy, a white boy is not finna get his hands dirty, and a white boy is not finna do no hard work. That's they not gonna do. So everything, man, come on. Our culture, American culture is our culture because we were the sacrificial lambs. We were the ones that had to put our lives on the line to cross those rivers and blaze those trails and plow those fields. They wasn't doing that shit as much as they want to be bonsai and extremists and hardcore and no fear. Man, white people is scary as fuck, and their biggest fear is us getting mad. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, new Negro.
Oh, it's on me already. I yeah. Peace and love to everybody in the space. Wani, my question to you is: I hear a lot about the conversation of Pan Africanism, and much of it seems to be like a generational divide, right? Even a conversation earlier with Shah, and I know Shah's background. Shah's like 60 some years old. And a lot of Pan Africans, if not the majority, maybe 90 something percent of them that I come across are older, from the older generation. So, my
Mm-hmm.
question is, why is this a generational divide? and what was happening with the Black Americans who are of Shah's age pushing back against Pan-Africanism at that point in time? Like, why is it something that we got to deal with, and why
Okay.
wasn't it something that they didn't get rid of or push back in the 80s, 90s, or whatever?
Um, okay, so we'll just talk about the generational thing. Some people listen to the same music that they listened to when they were in high school, and they don't really learn new music. They don't really evolve. Other people listen to music that they listened to in high school, and they listen to present music today. So I'll just say that there's different types of people because we were fed a false narrative about African things. And this is something that has to be unraveled. We were told it takes a village to raise a child, but they didn't mention the fact that there was so many orphans wandering around and villages weren't taking care of children in Africa. They tried to tell us that we got our music from them. They tried to tell us that we got our food from them. They tried to tell us that we got our sports prowess from them. In almost everything that we've done, they tried to say that we got it from them. And I don't understand it because it's clear that, and I can, just simply point out if the people don't get mad and start screaming, that if you're going to claim somebody's music genre or food, then you would have, we have a cookbook from 1827. So if somebody says that we cooked food, we also have documentation of us learning of Thomas Jefferson's chef going over to France to learn principles of cooking different things. We know what was going on, okay? And these people had cookbooks. So we have cookbooks, so we can say we were cooking this and this and this in the 1800s. And we know that English people can't cook now. So they weren't teaching us how to cook these delectable foods, but they certainly did have us cooking in the big house. We're not making beans and toast, babe. We are not making beans on toast. Okay? And we're not eating brains and whatever other things they were eating. We were cooking good, delectable foods, and we were pairing these things together and creating a cuisine. And that's us. How can someone say that the English people told you how to cook it? Well, then how come they didn't cook it? They're not cooking it over in England. And only thing that they've done here is call it Southern cuisine. They took soul food and made Southern cuisine instead of having good potatoes cooked thoroughly. They're hard like cardboard with raisin sprinkled throughout. So they basically have butchered. Look, I'm like I said, I'm old, and I saw Family Circle magazine, and that was in the 50s. People would have these 1950s recipes. I mean, I wasn't born in the 50s, but they'd have these 1950s and 60s recipes with all kind of crap in it. This is their way of cooking. They tried to make these nasty, you know, jello, casseroles, s'mores, concoctions, and we didn't like those. We still kept cooking good food. They tried to keep trying to shove this nasty kind of non-soul food in, and then they would go back to their basic things: steak and eggs. Hey, if you can't, we'll simplify it. Let's just make steak and eggs. And then they
They
had so
can't
many
cook
heart
that right.
attacks.
They eat
They,
it raw.
they can't even cook
They
that.
eat it raw. You know what I mean? Rare. They call it rare. In other words,
then
raw.
they all had heart.
Yes.
And they all had heart attacks from eating all that cholesterol. And but literally they tried to show us the evolution of English food, and it came out as nasty casseroles, jello molds, and all kinds of nasty stuff. Go ahead, New Nig.
Yeah, you took me like a whole different way. What I was saying is I come across the majority of people
Go
living
ahead.
in New York, right? Living in New York, flat black capital. The majority of people that I come across that are Pan Africans are of the lineage, right? I don't come across many Caribbean Pan
Yes.
Africans. I don't come across African Pan Africans. I come across people who are descendants of our community who push
Yes.
this, and they wasn't pushing the food, the cuisine, but the ideology. So my question
What
is,
were they pushing? Because that's why I wanted to have the room to see exactly if you would just tell me that they want us to uh, go do something with Africans, that would be better uh, than, like politically aligned with Africans and Caribbeans. That would be better than just roll over and let these people smear themselves all over your culture and just make you nothing. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do. And no, I'm not doing any of that because I don't have to. My group is 40 million. Africa is 1.3 billion. I don't need to align with them. There's enough of them. You guys align with each other. Show us the way. If like I said earlier, if we're not part of the African Union, but Israel and these Arab countries are allowed to be part of the part of the African Union, I'm not part of your problem. You go talk to Israel and these Arab countries when you have a problem. Stop talking to Black Americans. That's all. I don't, if you're going to treat us like garbage, don't talk to us anymore about your problems. Don't say a Black person is hurt over here in the Ukraine. A Black person is getting beaten by a Chinese man in China. A Black person is getting beaten over. And can you stop saying a Black person so we just, that's a dog whistle to us. Oh, a Black person is in trouble. Let me put on my cape and go fly over and save them. We have literally flown over to save people. The Tuskegee Airmen literally flew over with everything but the cape and taught these people how to fly and staved off an Italian invasion. And what do they say to us? Oh, you didn't do anything. They have a statue of him in a chapel somewhere, John Robinson, hiding out. So their people won't know enough. So that's basically, if you want to do a kumbaya, fine. I'm not going to do it. But that's better than you trying to take every aspect of our, oh, we made hip hop. Look at this African man tripping over his feet and falling sideways. That looks like a hip hop move. That looks like break dancing. No, he broke his leg. Nope, it was break dancing. We invented that. This is what I'm dealing with. Just really crazy stuff.